Good morning, everybody. Mike Missanelli Show on the air. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we promised that we would have some phones for you today, but we don't. So it's conversational radio again today on the Mike Missanelli Show. William Colarulo is here. Raymond Dunn is here, and we will talk about some various topics. I wanted to start with an Eagle topic, and then I got a couple Sixers topics, and we didn't talk nearly enough about Hoosiers yesterday, Bill, as one of my favorite sports movies of all time. And I thought we would compile our own little list of sports movies today, somewhere along the line. Well, let's talk about the Eagles, because I'm on the record saying, hey, this rebuild is, first of all, they did hire a quarterback coach, the head coach of Bowling Green. They took Penn State to the wall this year, so there's that.
So you approve it?
Well, I don't know. But here's the Eagle thing. I'm reading a story about 5 teams that could be hit the hardest this offseason, and the number one team is the Eagles. And I look at it, I go, come on, man. They have enough of a core where they're not going to get hurt by a free agent leaving. Now, I know Zach Bond would be a killer. If they lost anybody else, I think really they could kind of replace anybody else. And we're talking about Josh Sweat. We're talking about Mekhi Becton. Milton Williams is a good player, but you're not going to be able to afford him. Kenneth Gainwell, I don't think they'll lose him. Brandon Graham is no loss, and Avonte Maddox is no loss. So I don't really know what they're thinking about when they say this is the number one team that could be hit the hardest by free agency. Maybe we could explore that a little bit. Bond is a killer. Although they did draft a linebacker that they think can take the spot in Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So I get it that Bond is a really important free agent, and they shouldn't lose him, and I don't think they will lose him. But listen, Mekhi Becton, all right. They got a replacement. You're supposed to have replacements in the draft. If you believe in Howie Roseman and his judgment, then you believe in Tyler Steen could take that spot. Milton Williams, it would be a loss, but there's always another guy that comes along that can play like Milton Williams. Kenneth Gainwell, I think, will stay here, although I don't think he's that big of a loss if they lost him. And let's face it, BG and Avonte Maddox are not a big loss for this team. So, Bill, let's go to you first of all. Do you believe that this is the number one team that could be hit hardest by free agents, losing free agents?
I do think that this team could be one of the worst teams in terms of losing free agents. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't replace these guys. But if you do take a step back and look at it, they're in danger of losing how many of their starters on both sides of the football. So you figure just Mekhi Becton on offense. Right? So that's one.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat is a starter. Yeah. Milton Williams is essentially a starter. You got Zach Bond, another big-time starter. And then we don't know what they're going to do. It isn't necessarily a free agent, but with the way Darius Slay's contract is structured, do you move on from him? You could be talking about potentially 5 players that were big contributors on this team that wouldn't be here. You could go even farther than that. Even though Aaron Burks isn't a starter, he was a starter down the stretch of this season and in the playoffs because Nakobe Dean got hurt. We saw Isaiah Rodgers, who's also a free agent. He played some important snaps. So, you could be talking about 7 guys, and then you add in Brandon Graham.
If you didn't have replacements, I get it. But you're giving no solace to the draftees and wait. They loaded up on defensive backs to have depth there to replace Slay with, Keely Ringo is there waiting to play. And you talk about they drafted a linebacker. Finally, they drafted a linebacker fairly high who could play. And they drafted an offensive lineman. They always back up their offensive line with draftees. So on one hand, if you believe in Howie Roseman, you don't believe that they're going to be decimated by free agents that they lose. Now, Bond is different. That's a free agent you should keep. But Josh Sweat had a great year on a contract year. I don't know if Josh Sweat is enough to fret about.
Now, I would be okay with them letting Josh Sweat walk because I do think Josh Sweat is going to command a lot more money than I think he's worth. He had a great Super Bowl. Thank him for his service to the Philadelphia Eagles and helping deliver a Lombardi. But I don't think he's going to be worth what he's going to get paid. However, when you let him walk, you do have a severe lack of depth at your edge rushing positions because if Brandon Graham does, in fact, retire, you're going into this season with Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, and Bryce Huff. So you're going to have to do something to replenish your edge rushers because you just don't have any depth at all. When you move inside, yeah, you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, but Milton Williams was one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, in my opinion.
But then you got a Jomo who's there.
And can he step up and play meaningful snaps?
Well, could Milton Williams step up and play meaningful snaps? See, this is the thing is, if you're using your intelligence to draft guys that you know can step in, like Nolan Smith and Hunt were drafted so they could step in.
A little bit of a difference, though. Nolan Smith, first-round draft pick. Jalix Hunt, third-round draft pick. Milton Williams, third-round draft pick. Maro Ajomo was a seventh-round draft pick. I like the guy, but he was drafted as more of a project. We'll see if he's ready in year 3 to really step up and take that leap like Milton Williams gave you last year. You can say the same thing about the linebacker position. Like, I think they will sign Zach Bond again, but what do you have next to him? Because we don't know if Nakobe Dean's going to be healthy. If they don't re-sign Aaron Burks, is a fifth-round rookie Jeremiah Trotter ready to step up in his second season?
But you can always sign an Aaron Burks. There are Aaron Burkses throughout the league that you can sign.
You're right, and I agree that there are players available, and I do expect Howie Roseman to take advantage of like that second and third wave of free agents. But there's no guarantee that you hit. Like, because this year, yeah, they hit on the Aaron Burks of the world. They hit on some of their one-year deals. Mekhi Becton being one of them. You could go back 2 years ago, and that wasn't the case. They were scrambling at linebacker.
Yeah.
They didn't have answers at safety. They had to make a late trade for a Kevin Byard. So, like, yes, in Howie we trust, and the window is still wide open for this team, but they got to make the right decisions in free agency, and I don't think it's going to be as easy as maybe you think it will be.
All right. We're going to talk about that today. I also want to talk about this little dynamic that you were at the Sixers gala last night.
Correct.
Or the gala, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, at the Bellevue. Very nice
at the
event.
Bellevue. It was like a big party. And so the players were there, and the players were having fun, dancing, and all kinds of stuff. And there's a lot of negative feedback on that in social media. So these guys have the right to have fun. And and I think about it, I go, the fans are entitled to think that way. They really are. Now, in reality, maybe it doesn't play out because, like you were talking a bit before the show, what did we expect them to do? Be in a dark room, not like in depression?
Yeah.
Like dealing with that? They're human beings after all. But the outward message of that never resonates with the fan base, nor should it. I got news for you. The fans shouldn't be mature enough to say, well, they're just guys having fun. They're human. After all, they're human beings. We don't think that way as a fan base, and fans don't think, and players don't think about how the fans think. There is a vast divide between fandom and playerdom on how people perceive situations.
You're right. There are few players over the course of history in the city of Philadelphia who did let, when the team struggled, really impact them. One of them was Brian Dawkins. I think that's why Dawkins resonated so well with this Philadelphia fan base. I was working down there at the time. I used to see Dawkins. He would be literally like crying in his locker when they would lose games.
Yeah.
Most of the other guys, it's, business as usual. No big deal. Where are we going to dinner?
Exactly.
That type of thing.
That doesn't resonate with fans.
No, it does not.
Fans want to see players walk around with the hair shirt, lamenting. Now, this is an interesting dynamic, and I really want to talk about it when it comes to this particular thing. It's like the scene in Moneyball, where Billy Bean comes in, and they're dancing around. It's the end of the game. So what? They got playing the music. Bang! With the bat on the music. What are you having fun for?
It's a great scene.
What are you having fun for? And so I would love to get some feedback from fans on this particular situation. The Sixers have disappointed you tremendously. They have blown up a season right in your face as a fan base. Are you supposed to look at them dancing and not react? We'll talk about it. 610-632-0975. It is the Mike Missanelli Show. I'm giving you that because you can text, not call today. Hopefully, somewhere along the line, we get telephones back. It's like the whole grid has been blown out down through the eastern seaboard. So it's going to be tough to get the phones back. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Tyrone.
10:15. Mike Missanelli Show. I have a suggestion. Listen, we're a talk station, right? We're a sports talk station. We rely on feedback from callers to a large extent. I got a solution. How about if we ask the callers to send us a note by carrier frickin' pigeon, and have the pigeon fly right here into the studio, drop the note right down on us, and we can have the dialogue that way.
It may
How
be
about
faster.
that?
Yeah, maybe faster. I mean, luckily we got the text board.
Listen, I admit I don't understand technology, so I don't know what's going on. It seems incomprehensible that our phones have been blown out for like 3 days.
It's across the board, too. It's not just our station.
Exactly. Now, what could it possibly be? It's not the building, right? It's just our radio stations.
I don't know. I didn't get the full details of it. Ray, do you have any idea what's going on?
It's not the building here. It's our radio stations, correct?
It's the phone system in which we utilize that allows us to take phone calls and put them on the air. So, yes, it's just...
So it's some kind of algorithm that...
some
whatever
sort of back-end program that allows us to do exactly what we do that is not operational at this point.
What happened? Is it a terrorist attack
No,
here?
no.
Like what happened to melt down these phones? Do we know exactly?
I believe there was maintenance being done.
Maintenance was being done on the phone system, and the maintenance triggered this blockout?
Yes, I think. And I apologize to the engineers that are listening that are hearing me say this and like, yeah, it's not quite what happened, Ray. I don't know exactly because I was taught the board. I was not taught the phones. That was not a part of my training.
Right, play the hello drop. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, sorry, nobody's there. No. We can't hear you. I'm making fun of this. It's so, it seems to me so ridiculous. But in any event, we still have the powers of conversation here.
We do. We got the YouTube chat. We got the text line. We got me, you, and Ray. So we'll be fine. We'll have some fun on this beautiful
and
Friday.
One of the things I want to talk about, because one of the reasons I brought up that Moneyball scene is because I want people. We didn't nearly talk enough about the Hoosiers yesterday and Gene Hackman. Because if you see, there was a column done on it today. I looked in the Athletic. The Athletic had a column.
There's a lot
on Hoosiers, and I keep thinking, the more I think about it, the more I believe that Hoosiers is the second best on my list.
What's your favorite again?
The Natural.
The Natural's your favorite.
Because I shed a tear at the end of The Natural.
Yeah.
So I got The Naturals number one, Hoosiers number two. And when I think of Hoosiers, I think of two people. I think of T.J. McConnell, and I think of Ben Simmons. Because in Hoosiers, Jimmy Chitwood missed exactly 2 shots. He was probably in the movie 50 for 52. Right? So he missed a shot when Gene Hackman came to visit him on the farm, and he's got the deflated basketball. Well, first of all, how do you have a deflated basketball? How are you playing with the deflated basketball? Right? He's shooting a deflated basketball in a hoop that's a single pole hoop on a dirt little thing on the farm. Right? So when Gene Hackman goes, let me just tell you this. I don't care if you play or not. And he tossed him the basketball, and he walked away. And Jimmy Chitwood missed that shot, missed the next shot, and he missed one in a game. He was like 50 for 52. And I'm thinking, did T.J. McConnell ever watch Hoosiers? Seriously, did T.J. McConnell actually watch Hoosiers to see that Jimmy Chitwood took like 100 jump shots like every 10 minutes on his little farm?
You are not a fan of
No.
TJ.
I'm just saying. There's a white dude, Jimmy Chitwood. He went to the basket exactly one time in the whole movie. He made a left-handed layup as he went hard to the basket. The rest of them were jump shots. Because why? He was a white kid who grew up in Indiana. And that's all he did was shoot a deflated basketball, shooting jump shots. Because he couldn't dribble the deflated basketball. And I'm going, did T.J. McConnell pick up anything from that?
Well,
Secondly, did Ben Simmons pick up anything from Hoosiers?
No, he definitely did not. Ben Simmons still doesn't have a shot.
So anyway, That's just my little side. Every time I watch Hoosiers, I think of T.J. McConnell.
So that's your favorite basketball movie, without a doubt. Then.
Yes. Here's my movie list. I only can get to 7, and then I get perplexed. It's like when I make up lists, I always stop at 7. I don't know what it is. I can't get past 7 because the other ones just aren't worthy for the 8 spot. And I got a bunch of movies or a bunch of rock bands or whatever that I slot in. I could slot in there, but I always go, I can't. Maybe this belongs. And I stop. My brain stops. So I got 7. My list is 7. Now, I'm going to tell you that I don't consider Rocky nor Raging Bull sports movies.
Yeah, the Rocky one I disagree with because that one I would put as my top sports movie. But if you're eliminating that from contention.
Yeah, I've eliminated Rocky and Raging Bull because I don't think they're sports movies. So here's what I got. The Natural. Oh, I get weepy just thinking about The Natural. Da, 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 the home run. Da, 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 da. All right, number 2, Hoosiers.
Where's number 3?
Number 3, Bull Durham.
Great movie.
Now,
how come Bull Durham is a sports movie but Rocky isn't?
Because Bull Durham is about the minor leagues and the trials and tribulations that you have to go through in the minor leagues. It's totally a sports movie.
I know, but Rocky, the underdog fighter, I don't know.
Rocky is not even close to being realistic as a sports movie. Like this pug is going to actually win the.
It was based on a true story.
It was not based on a true story.
Yes, it was.
Chuck Wepner.
Yes.
Chuck Wepner was a professional boxer. He wasn't a pug. He was a professional boxer. He wasn't a guy cleaning up the spit buckets. Crying out loud. It's based on a true story. All right.
Everybody I'd fight to use a bum.
Number 4, Remember the Titans.
Great movie.
Number 5. A lot of people have a problem with this. I don't know if I think Ray would agree. Moneyball takes my number 5 slot.
Another great one.
Ray?
I don't know if it's top 5, but I watch it consistently, so I can't.
I watch it every time it's on, and that's why it sustains the test of time for me, and I stick it in there. So now I've got 3 baseball movies in there, which you might look at and go, "Oh, I see why." But really, it's not. I don't have Major League in the top. I got Miracle.
Yeah, Miracle's a
number
great
6, and then I've got Major League number 7. And I could be swayed that Major League doesn't belong there because it's kind of stupid. 610-632-0975 on the text board only for right now until we tell you that the phones are lit up. We're considering throwing a bunch of tin cans out there like Del Monte's corn niblets that we've emptied, and we're going to attach it with a string, and we're going to throw all the cans out to the Delaware Valley, and maybe we can talk to people that way. Bill, what do you think?
Hey, it's worth a shot.
Del Monte petite peas can or something like that. Wax beans. We'll throw them all out there. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles hire a quarterback coach. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles filled the vacancy on their coaching staff left by Doug Nussmeier's departure to become the New Orleans offensive coordinators. The Eagles hire a new quarterbacks coach, and it's going to be the Bowling Green head coach Scott Loeffler, who has spent the last 15 years in college football. Loeffler spent 2011 as the Temple offensive coordinator under Steve Adazio. And speaking of college football, the NFL Combine is underway in Indianapolis, going until Monday. Elsewhere, 76ers hosted their youth gala last night. Andrew Salciunas and Bill Colarulo broadcasted live from it. Spoke with Nick Nurse about just how tough of a season it's been.
It's been really, really difficult. There's been some times where we haven't handled that very well, but that's the message. Got to play better. Got to continue to hope that.
Got to continue to hope, I guess, in his position for sure. 76ers back in action on Saturday against the Warriors. Flyers lost 5-4 to the Penguins in Pittsburgh last night in overtime. And the Phillies had strong outings yesterday from Zach Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, and Jordan Romano in Grapefruit League action. They're back in action today against the Red Sox. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for the Phils. This update's brought to you by True Green. True Green gets a golf course quality lawn for less than you think. Sign up at truegreen.com. That's TRUgreen.com. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's the Mike Missanelli Show, and here's how you text us. 610-632-0975. Before I want to get to a topic here that we introduced a little earlier in the show, I said I had 7 sports movies, and I couldn't figure out 8 to fill out the top 10. But I do have some candidates, Bill. Here I have like 6 candidates for the final 3 spots. He Got Game.
Great movie.
Hoop Dreams, the documentary. Yeah, you know what?
You can't put a documentary.
All right, I'll take the documentary out of there. Friday Night Lights. 8 Men Out. Chariots of Fire. One of the most underrated sports movies ever, which won an Oscar.
People were saying that, I think, in the YouTube chat.
Chariots of Fire is tremendous. And you wouldn't think it is because it's about 2 British runners. And Slapshot.
So you're missing a couple.
Yeah. What I got? What am I missing?
The Program.
I forgot the Program.
It's one of my favorite
The Program
movies.
is pretty good.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I actually was seeking that out of my head, and I didn't write it down.
Now, you mentioned Chariots of Fire. There's another movie that goes way back that I thought was excellent. Breaking Away.
The Blake Sissel movie?
Yes.
Yeah, the guy
It's a
was
very
in that
good
was,
movie.
Daniel Stern was in that.
Yeah, that's a movie that not a lot of people
Not
have
bad.
seen.
It's not bad.
That's a good
Breaking
movie.
Away.
Now, you said Remember the Titans. You said Moneyball. You said Miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider White Men Can't Jump a sports movie?
No.
All right, because if White Men Can't Jump and Rocky are 2 of my favorite movies of all time.
Sports movies got to be some kind of league competition. Like that. That's just a pickup game, sort of. That's not a sports movie.
Okay. Let me see what people are saying in the YouTube chat. $1 Million Baby.
Yeah. No, it's a tearjerker. It's not really a sports movie, is it?
No, not as much. I think I told you that story, too. I went to see that in the theater, and there were 4 older women in front of me.
Crying?
At the end of the movie, the credits start to roll, and the one old woman turns to her friends and said, I thought we were coming to see a musical. She thought $1 Million Baby was a musical. Dude, I was dying. My dad looks over. I am hysterically laughing.
Question. Did you not break watching that movie?
Oh, it was sad as hell.
Did you cry? Did you cry?
The only time I cried was when I was laughing so hard that she thought it was
Really?
a musical.
You don't cry at movies when they're like, gut-wrenching like that?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes
Man,
they get to me.
that broke me apart, that movie.
I've only watched it once because I didn't want to put myself through it again.
Yeah, I know.
You can't watch that a second time.
I agree with you. It's not a movie you can watch a second time.
Yeah, it was terrible.
All right, so let's get back to this topic with the Sixers and their gala last night at the Bellevue.
Yes.
Now, here is, first of all, this thing was probably planned from the start. So
It is.
It's not like they could actually, like they had to plan it, and they expected a better season, and they expected it would flow with a more successful season. It didn't. So it's not like they could cancel it. But where I think you have a problem with it, and many people have a problem with it, is that the Sixers social media team posts the glee of it.
Yes.
And one of the main parts of the glee part of that was Yabusele and his dancing.
Yeah, so the event itself is for their
Charity.
youth foundation.
Yes.
So the gala last year raised over $1.9 million. So they're not going to cancel the event. It's a great cause. They're raising money for the youth of our area, which hats off to them. But where the social media team, I think, lacks awareness is, yes, posting videos of Yabusele dancing on the dance floor, posting videos of the team all happy and dancing and smiling, and they're getting killed for it on social media because I am not naive. I know that professional athletes have a life outside of sports. I get it. I'm not saying that they need to sit in a dark room and just cry because the season hasn't gone the way they wanted. But I do think you have to have a little more self-awareness as a team and realize, you know what? Maybe now's not the best time to be posting content of all of our players having a wonderful time, dancing the night away at the Bellevue. Like, I get it. It's a great cause. It's the optics don't look great, and I just don't think the Sixers understand that.
I happen to agree with you 100%. Now, maybe fans do not agree with it because my fans will take the mantra that, well, yeah, they are human beings and they deserve that fun and blah, 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 blah. When you are in this kind of a profession and it's become so freaking disappointing and such a blow to your fan base. I don't know if your fan base should be subjected to that. Well, I totally agree with you.
And the fan base did lash back a little bit because I'm looking at just some of the comments.
What did they have to say?
So some of the comments underneath the video of Yabusele dancing at the event last night. So ain't nothing to celebrate about. You all should just take the Instagram page down until next season. Let's see what else we got. How low we've fallen. Losing games and still finding time to celebrate. I think we as fans are taking things too far. They don't actually care as much as we do. See, that's what the image is that's putting out there.
It's the classic Jeremy Giambi seed from Moneyball.
It is. But then, like this person, fans thinks players can't live just because the team's not winning. You're crazy as hell. And I agree with that take. They should be able to live, but maybe you don't have to throw it in their faces on social media. That's where I think you got to draw the line.
Here's the this is a saying that everybody should have on their wall. Life goes on for players. Disappointment lingers for fans. Now,
did you just make that up?
I just made that up off the top.
Maybe you got to get that tattoo as well.
Yeah, well, that's a sports tattoo that I would put on. But it's the absolute truth. Disappointment lingers for fans. Life goes on for players. You know why? Because the money keeps flowing into their bank account.
And
that's
a lot
why
of it.
life goes on. Because to them, it's not as devastating as a fan who is looking for sports to pull them out of the mundane parts of everyday life.
It's well said, Michael.
610-632-0975 is how you get in on the Mike Missanelli Show.
The Philadelphia 76ers
Mike Missanelli Show. We left as we went into the break. We talked about how the players. Here's what I'll add to that with this Sixer thing. The players, first of all, most fans are pro player, right? This notwithstanding, most fans will stick up for a player if the media picks on him. So if the media gets involved, the fans are always pro player. The media is the most hated entity in this whole equation, right? Yeah. But if the media is not involved, like for instance, if you're just posting social media videos of them having fun, the media is not involved in anything, then the fans will turn on the organization and the players, right?
Yeah, and we saw that earlier this season when Brandon Graham was the one that caused the firestorm over Hurts and AJ. Everyone came back to the media. It was like, whoa, we didn't do anything.
Yeah. So in general, fans will be pro player and will defend the player. Conversely, the players rarely take any kind of investment in what fans are feeling. Players are sort of oblivious because they live inside this bubble on how their lack of performance or losing or whatever affects the fan base. They're totally oblivious to that. Do you agree with that?
I do. I do agree with that. You're right. Fans
they
are
rarely
oblivious.
take inventory of how fans are feeling about it. They don't understand it because they're at such a lofty perch in their life that they couldn't care less about how a fan is feeling.
Yes, the players sometimes can be oblivious to it. But what bothers me in this situation is this isn't Paul George posting pictures with his wife on vacation. This is coming from the Sixers organization. Like, they're the ones who are posting it. Yeah. And I get it. They want to raise awareness for their youth foundation.
I don't think it's that. I think they have a job to do. The people who run social media accounts for teams don't take inventory like we're taking inventory. They have one job, which is make the organization look good.
And post content.
Right, post content.
Yeah. But I will say, and I've noticed this with the Eagles social media team. The Eagles social media team tends to be very aware of what's going on with their fan base. When everyone was attacking Nick Sirianni after the Cleveland Browns game, when he jawed at the fans and then he had the kids at the podium, you didn't see social media clips that had Nick Sirianni in it for a little while. Like, they're aware of, hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't post this guy because he's getting a little bit of hate right now. Where I wonder if they were having a devastating season like the Sixers are on how they would have managed their social media, because Sixers are getting a little bit of heat for what they're posting.
Do you think the Eagles managed that a lot better? Conversely, they really showed out with A.J. Brown in his book, when I believe, and a lot of people believe, that he was making a statement that day with that book.
Yeah, You may think you didn't like what AJ did, but you're right. The way that the Eagles handled it from an organization and from a social media is they made light of it. Like, they invited the author to practice. You know, they started making this thing like they made
ahead of the story.
Exactly. They spun it where everyone now, you got Ray Dunn reading Inner Excellence back there. Like, that's a great job by them on how they spun that thing. Yeah. It's a good social media team.
Right. Have you completed it yet?
No, I'm 2 or 3 chapters in at this point.
Has it improved your life?
We're starting to see steady improvements.
Well, as we talk about social media,
can you describe those steady improvements? Like, what has that done for you?
I was present in the moment for just about everything I've done over the last couple days.
Well, Ray,
what does that mean? You've been present in the moment.
I don't know. He's just taking it a day at a time. But as we talk about social media teams and we talk about Ray reading Inner Excellence, Ray needed it because he was not happy with Dylan, because our social media team posted a clip going after Ray Dunn yesterday, and he blamed Dylan McKinnon for that.
What happened?
Twitter fingers McKinnon.
Yes. Ray wasn't happy. He didn't have a chance to defend himself.
I've been oblivious to this whole thing. This is inner politics, interstation politics. What happened?
Well, so, Ray, I'll set it up and then you can answer. So, yesterday on the afternoon show, the question was just about whether the process was a failure. And one of our avid listeners, Dawood, who met us at Rally House, he texted in, taking a shot at Ray, saying that the people who were voting that the process wasn't a failure must have been Ray Dunn's burner account. So, Dawood texted that in, and then Dylan clipped that and posted it to social media, basically saying, Ray ran away from the argument yesterday. So Ray needed inner excellence to calm down because Dylan came in today. Ray wasn't happy with Dylan.
No, but again, I took a nice read of my inner excellence, deep breath, and now we're here, ready to go.
Well,
how about Dawood, too, taking a shot at you when you're not even on the air? Come on, Dawood.
He texted in the first 5 minutes of our show. You're my guy. Dawood, you've been on my Mount Rushmore of listeners for a long time, and now I'm starting to question whether or not we need to take you off the Mount Rushmore.
You know what's really funny? Because, Ray, I agree with you on the process thing, and we've talked about this before. It's so easy to look back, and because it didn't work like they thought it would work, to take shots at it, that it was a disaster. It was not, at the time, a disastrous idea. At the time, the way you could build your team was to stack up premier players that you could only get in the first couple picks of an NBA draft. Now, when you look at it, they got 3 really high draft picks that could have been foundational for the franchise. They wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. And that's what Hinkie was thinking.
But I think the key word there that you just said was could. It could have been, which means it didn't work. It didn't work.
All you can do in this world is increase your chances for success. Now, would you not agree that if you got those kind of high picks, you were increasing your chances for success? It's never a guarantee, but wouldn't you rather have the chance to do it?
Yes, but I think those are different arguments. If the question is, was the process a failure? I'm not saying that the idea was a bad idea.
Okay,
I understood the idea, but it was a failure.
But you can't call it a failure.
You absolutely can.
No, if you understood the idea in the first place, that it was going to benefit the organization, you can't look back and then say it was a failure and you screwed up. Because at the time, you weren't screwing up. What screwed up was those players screwed you up.
Also,
not your idea of selecting the players.
Yeah, but see, then I think you can make the argument. Let's look at the NFL draft. How many times do we talk about busts in the first round where you would then say, well, at the time, drafting a quarterback was the right idea.
Wait. This is the part of the conversation that gets me, because I checked my phone today. It is 2025. The conversation circles back to Sam Hinkie specifically, and I know the conversation yesterday that they had in the afternoon show circles back to Sam Hinkie specifically. Sam Hinkie, when he resigned as the general manager of this organization, we were still debating whether or not LeBron would win in Cleveland. That's how long it's been. So if you want to start looking at mistakes made along the way of this organization, you talk about those high-level draft picks. Ben Simmons technically isn't his draft pick. Ben Simmons probably would have been the draft pick anyways, ended up being an all-star. Markelle Fultz wasn't the draft pick. Do we know who would have been taken by him in that time? You go back to the process. The process gave you the runway for contention. You talk about 50-win seasons that this organization has had since they won it in '83. There hasn't been a lot of them. There hasn't been a lot of success. You act like this is some black mark on a very successful franchise over the last 40 years. It actually has been what led to the greatest window of contention you've had. You just haven't been able to get past the second round.
Totally, it created the runway for success. Now the runway turned out to be littered with broken bottles, but you couldn't have predicted that. Bill, it's so fundamental to me. At the time, there wasn't this weighted lottery system. At the time, you had to lose to get premier picks. You had to lose. And that's what they did. And they got premier picks out of it.
So, to Ray's point, do you think if Hinkie didn't resign or get forced out, that the Sixers would have made better picks along the way?
I don't know what would have happened. I'm talking about at the time when you're rock bottom, and the only way that you could generate a franchise that can contend is to get primo players. To do that at the time, you had to lose.
I get the thought. But if I would have told you back then, all of this suffering and all of this hell that we're going through is going to result in you never getting out of the second round.
You never look back like that.
But now you have the luxury of looking back.
No, you don't have the luxury. It's not a luxury. It's like a convenient argument. It's not a luxury.
When Hinkie was doing it, was he doing it just to get to the second round? Yeah. No. So you could say it was a failure.
Why are you so blockheaded about
Because
this?
you could say it was a failure. It was a good idea that didn't work. It was a good idea that didn't work.
All right, but you can't call it a failure because you're doing everything in real time. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update. Update.
Eagles hire quarterback coach. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles filled their vacancy on the coaching staff left by Doug Nussmeier's departure to become New Orleans offensive coordinator. The Eagles' new new quarterbacks coach will be Bowling Green's head coach Scott Loeffler, who has spent the last 15 years in college football, including a stop in 2011 as Temple's offensive coordinator. And speaking of college football, NFL Combine underway in Indianapolis, going until Monday. Elsewhere, 76ers hosted their youth gala last night, and Andrew Salciunas and Bill Collarullo broadcasted live from the gala. They spoke with head coach Nick Nurse about just how tough of a season it has been.
It's been really, really difficult. There's been some times where we haven't handled that very well, but that's the message. Got to play better. Got to continue to hope that.
Hope is one strategy for this team. 18 games under 500 and getting back in action tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. Flyers lost 5-4 to the Penguins in Pittsburgh last night in overtime, unable to get the weak sweep of the Penguins after beating them on Tuesday. Phillies got strong outings from Zach Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, and Jordan Romano yesterday in spring training action. They're back in action today against the Red Sox. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for them today. This update's brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Enter code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 10:56, Mike Missanelli Show. We love to see your text in the text board. 610-622-0975. We got a lot of stuff that percolated in this first hour. We need to talk about the Eagles situation. And we haven't really touched on the Myles Garrett thing. We'll do that in a little bit. The pursuit of Myles Garrett. A lot of NFL insiders think the Eagles are plotting to do that.
And there's another one now, yeah.
And now I will say this about that. I don't think that they should get him just to keep him away from the Commanders. For crying out loud. That's the rationale. Like, it seems ridiculous. Like, if you're going to go after him because you really want him and you can really fit him under the cap and it's not going to impact your financial situation. Don't get him because you're afraid the Commanders are going to get him. Like one player.
And I've seen
block his ass.
Some national reporters saying that. That doesn't seem like Howie's MO, though. Like, I don't think Howie Roseman lets that type of thing change what he's going to do. He has a plan. They're going to try to stick to the plan. I don't think if the Commanders are going to get him, so now we're going to overpay and we're going to use so much of our draft capital just because we don't want to see them get him. I don't think that's Roseman's MO.
All right. Ray, are there any texts with people with their sports movies here that are different than ones we're talking about that we may have missed one?
We got a Coach Carter question mark asking where that's in.
I forgot about Coach Carter. Oh, solid.
Yeah.
Sports movie.
Tin Cup, Cinderella Man.
Tim Cup is horrendous.
You hate that movie?
It's horrendous. And first of all, it goes on forever.
I like that movie.
It sucks.
I wouldn't put it in my...
No, seriously. Now, that's a separate poll. Tin Cup, bad or good?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in, like, my top movies, but it's pretty good. Now, you know
wait, what's pretty good about it?
It's just entertaining.
At least it wasn't great, because there's... No,
I would not say it's great.
Not entertaining at all.
Now, you know what movie was maybe great that was a golf movie? The Greatest Game Ever Played.
Very good movie.
Right? Very good movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that one gets enough credit.
Is that the one with... that's not Matt Damon, right? That's the kid.
That's Shia LaBeouf. Is the greatest game ever
Francis
played.
We May.
Yes, playing in the Open.
Yeah, okay, with his father not supporting his golf game until the end.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that is an excellent movie.
Great.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, great movie.
Now, that's a true story, right?
I believe it is, yes. It's a true story based off of 1913.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a sleeper.
Yes, it is.
In there. Anything else, Ray?
We got Hustle.
Oh, the movie with Adam Sandler that was set in Philly.
One. That's the one our boy Anthony is in, right? Yes.
Oh, he's in that?
Yeah.
I didn't remember seeing him.
Yeah, Anthony is in that, I believe. I haven't seen it yet.
I saw it. I don't remember.
I haven't seen it.
I really liked it, but it also is. I mean, if there was one target demographic for it, I felt like I fit exactly into that target.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out because
Adam Sandler plays a former Temple player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Another great golf
Johnson
movie.
Hardwick sweatshirt.
Adam Sandler was in Happy Gilmore.
No, that's not a sports
Happy Gilmore 2 coming out soon.
movie. Yeah, that's a silly ass movie.
It is. I don't know if you put it in your top sports movies, but it's good.
Space Jam came up on the text board here.
The original one with MJ or the one with LeBron?
Original.
Anybody saying, because we're getting it in the YouTube chat, A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own also popped up.
I hate it.
Oh, what do you... See, you hate Tom Hanks, man.
I just hate the movie. It's
a classic.
Not a classic. It's
Mike, it's a classic.
all right.
Ray, can you at least support me on this? League of Their Own.
Before I give you anything more, what are we listening to right now, guys?
Well, we're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic and WPEN and WPEN HD1. Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities.
Well done, Mike.
Thank you very much. All right, so now we continue.
See, I think any movie that gives a classic line that has been repeated for
There's no
decades.
crying in baseball.
Exactly.
There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, see, even you know.
Oh, God. It's
Classic
it's
movie.
annoying as hell, that line.
It's a great movie. That I would put my grade on. League of Their Own.
God.
I don't know if it's in my top 5, but I think it's a good one.
Field of Dreams. Do you like that one, too?
I do like Field of Dreams.
Schmaltzy crap.
I do, but I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't know if I would put Field of Dreams as high as others would.
I saw that was the next one I was going to bring up because I saw a couple texts for it, and I know Mike despises that
Stop
movie.
it with that schmaltzy crap.
If you build it.
Replacements also coming up a couple times here.
Yeah, that's a Gene Hackman, but that's not.
Yeah.
I actually thought that movie was kind of dumb at times. A little bit far-fetched at times.
All right. Well, listen, speaking of that, Gene Hackman, very, very odd circumstance of Gene Hackman. I have a theory. Now, everybody has theories of what's going on. There's a mystery about how all three of the dog, the wife, and Gene Hackman die in different areas of the house.
Yeah, one in the mudroom, one in the bathroom.
The dog is in the closet.
Very strange.
Okay, so here's my theory. I don't know. I'm not speaking out of turn. It's just a theory, okay? Gene Hackman dies in the mudroom. They say he fell, possibly, because that means he had a blow on his head. I think that possibly somebody inflicted that blow to the head. And that somebody then went to the bathroom and took a bunch of pills and scattered the pills all around. The dog ate the pills, went to the closet, boom. 3 dead.
It's going to take, what I'm seeing is going to take a few weeks before we get real answers. I mean, it's definitely a plausible.
That's my theory. Because the one thing that they did say was that she took some pills and the pills were scattered all around the floor. That meant that the dog was probably susceptible to it. But he also, like they said, he may have fallen. That indicates to me a blow to the head. Right?
Yes. Yeah, you would think that's what they're saying.
All right. But that's not my point when I bring up Gene Hackman, because there was a column today in the Inquirer by Mike Sealski, who said, and he was lauding his performance in Hoosier. So before I get to that, can we hear the final scene where his final pep talk? No, he's drawing up a play to try to win the game against South Bend Central. And here's how he draws it up.
All right, listen up. Here's what we're going to do. Jimmy, they're going to be expecting you to take the last shot. We're going to use you as a decoy. Buddy, you get the ball, give the Merle on the picket fence. He's going to take the last shot. All right, let's go. What's the matter with you guys? What's the matter with you?
I'll make it.
Ah, there it is. I'll make it. Jimmy Chitwood over. First of all, what kind of an idiot would not put the ball in Jimmy Chitwood's hands? That's like not putting the ball in Michael Jordan's hand. He's like 12 for 12 in the game. They're going to run the picket fence and use him as a decoy, right? But my man steps up. He wouldn't say crap if he had a mouthful of it. He steps up and he goes, I'll make it. How about that, Bill? Come on, you got to love that ending.
Goosebumps, right?
Now, the point that Sealski makes in this is that Gene Hackman, and I had him, as you said, I had him ranked pretty high in my list of actors.
You did.
And it's because of this. And I think Sealski delivers it. He said it might not be his best performance. He delivers so many marvelous performances in so many memorable roles. It's almost impossible to place one of them above the others. But it's likely his most beloved one. The quality that made him a remarkable actor is that they disappear completely into their characters. When you watch Al Pacino or Robert De Niro, you're aware at times that you're watching Al Pacino or Robert De Niro. Not so with Hackman. He becomes Norman Dale. Now, that's pretty good, because I feel the same way. I love De Niro, and I think he's a much better actor than Pacino is, because Pacino becomes Pacino.
Yeah, almost in every role.
In every role. And De Niro can meld into different roles, so I think maybe you don't put him in the same category. But Gene Hackman, he's absolutely right. He's not Gene Hackman. He's that guy.
You see, this is why I disagree with you so much about Tom Hanks, because I feel the same way about Tom Hanks. I think when Tom Hanks plays a role, I believe that person is not Tom Hanks. That it's not Tom Hanks pretending to be this person. It's this person. And you don't see that. You see Tom Hanks in every role. I describe Hanks the same way he describes.
I don't know how you could possibly get that with the fake dialects that he uses and the fact that he was cast as a hitman. You believed him as a hitman?
Okay, one movie out of hundreds that you didn't believe him on.
Like, you didn't believe that was Tom Hanks?
He wasn't a great hitman. I agree. But the same thing, like I don't know if I would have believed Robert De Niro as Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? There's certain roles that maybe you should just not take. Hanks has one misstep in Road to Perdition. I agree. I didn't love it.
But that's just why I think Hackman is a highly ranked actor. And it's a shame with all this stuff that's going down here. But that my theory, I think it's a plausible theory that I have.
It is, and it is a shame, but I will also say this. I'd sign up for 95 years old.
95. Yeah,
I'll sign up for 95.
Oh, it's a shame he died. What was you going to get 6 more years out of him?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 90. You tell me right now, 95.
Would you want to live to 95?
Yeah, I think I'd
see,
want to.
Bill thinks
I'll live to over 100.
Bill thinks at 95 he'd still be able to, look like a strong man and flexing.
The only reason why
shakes and all that.
He's got 105 set right now is probably his goal.
No, to be completely honest, the only reason I think I'd want to live that long is because of the kids.
Yeah.
Just to be able to see the kids and see. Look, I got a 5-week-old. You know what I mean? So I want to be able to stay alive as long as possible.
And at 95, you'll be totally lucid. You to even recognize the kids, right?
Well, that's the thing.
Here's the thing, right? At age 95, Bill could still hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Oh, I'm sure he believes that.
The only reason I want to live
reflect that.
The reason I want to live to 95 is I want to finally golf my age. That's an accomplishment to try to do that.
6'11". There's no way you shoot 95 when you're 95.
Probably not. But if you could be 80 and shoot 80, that's impressive.
At 80, you probably could.
Shooting your age is an insane accomplishment if you could do it. There have been people who do it.
You can't get to the green. When you're older, you won't be able to get the green in 4.
That's why it makes your best chance.
Possibly you can't.
Your best chance is to probably be like 76, 77 and break 80. That may be your best chance.
610-632-0975. Back after this.
Andrew Salciunas.
If Zach Ball.
11:12, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 Fly. You said something now. Now I'm going to analyze why League of Their Own wasn't a good role for him. Did you actually believe that Tom Hanks was this old baseball salt? Did you actually, did he pull that off in your mind? He looked like he was in his 30s. He was this old baseball, tobacco chewing salt. Seriously?
Phenomenal job.
I said, no, I'm being dead serious. You bought him in that role.
1,000%.
How? He wasn't old enough to be an old burned out baseball salt.
Me and 99% of the world bought him in that role, Mike. Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, he's miscast in certain roles.
Oh, no, he's not. League of Their Own is a classic movie.
It's not. It
is a classic.
I did not buy him ever in that baseball role because he wasn't old enough.
But your opinion is jaded because you don't like Tom Hanks.
It's not that I don't like him. It's that he has a limited range of acting. And he's a good actor. He's not an upper echelon actor. And that's an example of an overwrought, over-embellished role for him where I didn't buy him as a baseball guy. I just didn't buy him. Like, I played for a guy at Penn State who was an old baseball salt. He was like a 65-year-old guy spitting tobacco, and he had a voice like this, and he'd call me over and go, Missy, let me, I need you to bull your neck in this situation. Like guys like that. Like, I didn't buy Tom Hanks, overdone young guy trying to be an older baseball salt. Didn't buy it. Sorry.
I bought it. Ray, did you buy it?
Much like Inner Excellence, I bought it.
Ray, Mike, I'm serious. I think you are on an island with this one. Just like he was in Castaway, which was also very believable.
Listen, I didn't buy Ray Liotta as a baseball player in that freaking Field of Dreams movie either. Did you buy Ray Liotta in that role?
I mean, it's kind of a small role for Ray Liotta in that, but you're probably right. It's hard to buy Ray Liotta as a baseball player.
Seriously. He was shoeless Joe Jackson. He hit from the wrong side.
Now, he'll always be Henry Hill.
No, he's been okay in other movies other than the Henry Hill role. Not in that movie, though, as a baseball player. He was mean and, like, evil, like, in that movie.
What else? What other good movies was Ray Liotta in? Besides Goodfellas. I'm trying to think now.
I can't. But he was in a movie called The Narc, I think, which was he was a pretty good role in that.
Karina?
What?
With Whoopi Goldberg. Do you remember that movie?
No, I didn't see that movie.
Very interesting role for Ray Liotta.
He was in that. He was in that movie.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a comedy.
All right, let's talk about the best athletes that were in movies. Now, was Omar Epps a good enough athlete for you in the program? Oh, no, was he in Love and Basketball?
No, he was in
He was
both.
in the program, right?
He's in both
of them.
Yeah, he's in Love and Basketball.
Yeah, did he pull it off as an athlete?
Yeah, I thought he did.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, I thought he pulled it
I'm going
off.
to tell you who also pulled it off. Two actors in basketball movies. Coach Carter, whoever played his son in that movie, Damien, had some game. Ray, tell me I'm wrong. Coach Carter. You see Coach Carter?
No.
You never saw Coach Carter with Samuel L. Jackson as the coach based on a true story? His kid was a freshman on that team. Had handle, made a couple big game shots. Now, here's the other one. Above the rim.
Ray Allen?
No.
He's got game as Ray Allen.
No, Dwayne Martin was the actor. Above the rim when Tupac was in that movie, Avon Barksdale was in that movie.
Been very popular in the text line.
My man Dwayne Martin had some game and wound up getting a scholarship to Georgetown. Could definitely play.
Interesting. Now, when you're talking about real athletes, we still haven't mentioned the movie that has a ton of real athletes in it.
What's that?
Blue Chips.
Oh, well.
Right? You had Shaq, you had Penny.
That goes without saying. See, I miss Blue Chips is on my list.
That's a good movie.
Blue Chips should be on my list.
Nolte's great now.
In fact, I will make Blue Chips 7 and drop Major League to 8. I forgot about Blue Chips. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Nick Nolte did a really good job in that movie.
He was great in that movie. He really was.
All right, let's go to the text board, Ray. What do we got? But all the stuff we're talking about today with no phones, what are people commenting on the text board?
Blue Chips was one that was brought up quite a bit. We wanted, this is horrible, horrible movie. I haven't seen it, but I just know it's horrible. Keelan from Lancaster wanted to know your opinion on Home Team with Kevin James as Sean Payton. Because he says it's top 5 just because of that casting choice.
No,
I've never seen it, and I'm a Kevin James guy.
I think Kevin James is one of the most unfunny people on the face of the earth. Paul Blart,
He's
Mall Cop.
He's only funny as Doug Heffernan. He's only funny as Doug Heffernan. In The King of Queens, he was phenomenal. I have not liked him in anything else. But I loved him in The King of Queens.
All right. In any event, I've never seen that movie, nor would I ever see it.
Wait, Sean Payton's actually in that movie. Is that what the guy said?
No, Kevin James plays Sean Payton.
Plays Sean Payton.
No, it says cast. Sean Payton plays Lionel.
Really?
Oh.
I haven't seen the movie.
Well, you're right.
so-
Kevin James plays Sean Payton, but I guess Sean Payton has a cameo in it.
Kevin James playing Sean Payton? Seriously? What is that?
Oh, I think it got terrible reviews. Yeah, it's a 22%
kidding.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
We'll talk about believability. You go to the movies and you see Kevin James as a football coach. Not just any football coach, an NFL coach. Kevin James, I might be able to buy as the high school coach that just gets thrown into something. I can't buy him as an NFL coach,
Now-
much less Sean Payton.
Fun fact for you. Kevin James apparently was a tremendous wrestler in high school. I was watching the Mick Foley. Remember Mankind, Mick Foley?
Oh, yeah.
I was watching his documentary a couple years ago.
Mankind.
And the same high school he went to, Kevin James was like the stud wrestler that Mick Foley couldn't beat out or something along those lines. But he was a real big wrestler and football player, Kevin James, back in the day.
That's why he likes him, see? Right? He was the footballer. By the way, I was reading a story today, Bill. Speaking of your career, did you know that there was a story on this kid from St. Joe Prep who is not only a star football player, he's going to Boston College, but he also had the lead role in their play, and he's got a 4.0 at St. Joe Prep.
No,
and his
that's it.
father played football at Gettysburg.
What's the name?
Hold on, let me catch it here. It's Vokolos. Greek name, Vokolos.
The name's not ringing a bell. Will Vokolos.
George is his father. George Vokolos played at Penn Charter and then at Gettysburg College. He would have been, maybe he's
Probably a little older than
you.
me. Yeah, the name sounds familiar, but I don't recognize it.
All right, 610.
Oh, real quick,
What?
speaking of another local athlete, you know the Sacca family.
Yeah.
One played at Miami, one played at Rutgers. We know the son's going to Notre Dame.
Played at Miami. One played at Penn State.
That's right. I'm sorry. I said Miami.
Come on,
Penn
man.
State. The one that played at Rutgers reached out to me
Who's
last
the kid
night.
that played at Miami? He was also a South Jersey kid, though. Costa, I think it was.
Was that who it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's another one around the same time.
Costa.
But the Sacca that played at Rutgers reached out to me last night. His wife played Sirianni Love for him.
He started at Penn
And he
State.
said instant classic.
He started at Penn State, by the way. The younger one.
Yeah, he went to the NFL.
Who?
Sacca.
Not Tony. Tony's brother started at Penn State and went to Rutgers.
Did Ralph?
Transferred.
I'm talking about Ralph Sacca. I'll find out.
No, it was another sack, and not Ralph. It was another younger brother that played at Penn State and wound up transferring.
Maybe you're right.
That's who it was.
Maybe you're right. He'll text me.
610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles hire quarterbacks coach. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. The Eagles filled vacancy on their coaching staff left by Doug Nussmeier's departure to become the Saints offensive coordinator. Is the Eagles now hiring quarterbacks coach that was the former Bowling Green head coach in Scott Loeffler, who has spent the last 15 years in college football, including a stop as Temple's offensive coordinator in 2011. Speaking of college football, NFL Combine underway in Indianapolis, going until Monday. Elsewhere, 76ers host their youth gala last night, and Andrew Salciunas and Bill Colarulo spoke with Nick Nurse about just how tough a season it has been.
It's been really, really difficult. There's been some times where we haven't handled that very well, but that's the message. Got to play better. Got to continue to hope that.
Hope is one word for it right now with this team. 18 games under 500, 20-38. They're back in action on Saturday against the Golden State Warriors. Flyers lost 5-4 in overtime to the Penguins in Pittsburgh last night, unable to sweep the back-to-back games against the Penguins after beating them on Wednesday. Tuesday night, yeah. Phillies got strong outings from Zach Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, and Jordan Mono yesterday. Back in action today against the Red Sox with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping at code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, 11:26, Mike Missanelli Show. In case you're just tuning in, or if you're watching us on YouTube, we don't have any phones today. Our phone system blew out. I don't know the specifics of it, but it's really a crisis here since we use the phones a lot on Sports Talk Radio. But the other music stations can just spin a tune. You know what I'm saying, Bill?
Yeah, we're making do, though.
And here's Metallica. No, we have to actually talk and communicate with the people.
Yes.
So let's communicate via text board.
Yeah, we got the text.
What's going on with your chat? What's going on with the chat, dude?
Well, we just got this was a tweet. Somebody wanted to know, and I don't think this qualifies as a sports movie. They wanted to know if the movie Rounders would qualify as a sports movie, and then said in Bill Colarulo voice that was a great movie. I agree, great movie, but you can't put poker as a sport.
No.
Right? I don't put that as a sports movie.
No, it's not a sports movie.
But you agree, great movie, Rounders.
Yeah, I liked Rounders a lot.
Yeah, that was well done.
Yeah.
Malkovich is great in it.
Yes.
But no, not a sports movie. As far as the YouTube chat goes, some people are saying Sandlot. We haven't mentioned the Sandlot yet. Now, I may get killed for this statement. I thought Sandlot was overrated a little bit.
People love Sandlot. I go, come on, man. It's a cutesy movie. It's not a sports movie, really, is it?
Well, there's sports in it, right? There's sports in it because they play baseball, but I would think it's more of a coming of age story for the young kid, Smalls, right? Isn't it? You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, it's a coming of age story. You're
Ray, did you like that movie, Sandlot?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to be branded as the young one here because I enjoyed Sandlot, but maybe when I grow up someday, maybe I'll.
No. It's like it's. You know,
Look, listen to that sarcasm. Did you hear Ray? When I grow up someday. Taking a shot at us.
Yeah,
taking a shot at myself. Taking a shot at you guys.
Oh man,
it's a cutesy movie. You know, it's like Little Giants. You know,
now
like
that
cute movie.
Now that dare I overuse the word great?
Oh, stop it!
Great movie, Little Giants. The annexation of Puerto Rico, baby. They got the.
By the way, we got a text earlier from a texter that I forget who it was, and I apologize for whoever you were. It said, "I'm going to take a shot every time Bill calls something a great movie. I hope I survive the show." That person is dead.
Sorry about that. But come on, man. Little Giants is a really good. I'm kidding when I say great. It's not a great movie, but it's a really good movie.
Criteria for great movies is really interesting to me.
Well, I think you have to.
What is it about that makes them? Like, I can watch a movie and like it,
yes,
but not think it's great. Every movie you like, you say is great.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what we're defining. Like, is Little Giants winning any Oscars? No, but is it one of my all-time favorite movies? Yeah, I think it's a great movie, Little Giants. It is. It is.
It's a great movie. There are like 5 great movies in the history of movies.
Do I overuse great?
The rest are pleasant movies. The rest are good movies. You know, what's great? Give me an example of what you think would be a great movie. We can agree The Godfather's a great movie.
Yeah, like legitimately great movie, Godfather.
Yeah, I always go, like I'm old enough to have a wide swath of movies that are great. They don't make the epics like they used to. So my movies are like kind of epics. Like where they spent a lot of money to make, and the production was like over the top. Like I go, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly was phenomenal. Like they would never make another movie like that again. Early Clint Eastwood movie, a backdrop of history, the Civil War, like the Italian director Sergio Leone. Like that would never ever happen again.
But you would also put, like, Goodfellas is a great movie.
I don't have Goodfellas in my top 5.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think Goodfellas. Now, I love Bronx Tale more than you. I would classify Bronx Tale as a great movie. To me, that's a classic. I absolutely love that
my
movie.
top 5 movies are all epic. So I go Godfather 1, Good, the Bad, the Ugly 2. What else do I have in there? I can't even remember. I have Pulp Fiction is one of my top 5, and I have The Sting as one of my top 5.
Interesting.
And there's one other that I'm forgetting, and I forget what it is. Deer Hunter.
Deer Hunter, you love.
Yeah, I have Deer Hunter in my top. Those are my top 5 movies, which will never be made to the extent that they made those movies.
Now,
before.
You said Godfather. You don't put Godfather 2 in your top 5?
No, I don't put it in my top 5. I put it maybe 6, but I don't put it in my top 5 because the Godfather 1 to me is like so much better than Godfather 2. And I know a lot of people think the opposite, but the original to me is like this Sonny character you wouldn't have in Godfather 2. So that automatically disqualifies Godfather 2 for me. So that's why I would have it like beyond the top 5.
Now, James Caan, who plays Sonny, was supposed to be the actor in one of my favorite movies of all time, Rocky. You knew that, right? James Caan was supposed to be Rocky Balboa.
I didn't know that.
And Sylvester Stallone wanted to play the part. Could you imagine?
Sylvester Stallone wrote the movie.
Yeah, and then he wanted to be the guy who played the part.
Of course he wanted.
But I don't think it's, as much as I love James Caan.
He wouldn't have made a good Rocky.
No, it wouldn't have been as classic as it was.
Sylvester Stallone made a classic Rocky. And that's your favorite movie of all time, Rocky.
Probably. Yeah, it's probably my favorite movie of all time. I mean, I grew up with it. I mean,
well, everybody grew up with it.
But I'm saying, but think about this. So my dad was born and was graduated.
That's your favorite movie of all time.
Well, you look at the time frame of it. Like, my dad's born in 58, so he's like graduating high school in 76 when that movie comes out. So it's like his favorite movie of all time. So like from when I'm, as early as I can remember, I'm watching Rockies. I'm watching 1, 2, 3, all these Rockies that are coming out. So I like grew up on it. And I know a lot of people did, but you're being an Italian from South Philadelphia whose dad was 18 when the movie came out? Yeah.
Look, I get the
It's kind of like in your blood.
Stop me. I've heard this before. Philadelphia grew up on watching Rocky.
That's what I'm saying. It's in our blood here.
I get the whole thing, but favorite movie of all time. Like you watch it every time it's on.
Yeah, if it's on, I'll usually stop.
Do you watch
all of them?
All right, The Godfather's on at the same time Rocky's on. Which is what are you watching? Are you telling me you're watching Rocky over The Godfather?
No, you're probably right. I probably would watch The Godfather. But I don't know if that. It's hard. Godfather's in the top 5 for sure.
But you got Rocky ahead.
But I think I would just say, because of what it meant. Like, I don't know if I appreciated The Godfather until I got older. Whereas Rocky, I loved even as a kid. Rocky 3 was one of my favorites.
I mean, listen, how could you not like the way Rocky plays out? How could you not like it? But when you really get down to it,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's interesting when you watch Rocky now. There's some scenes that I'm not sure they would have approved of in today's world.
Like what?
There's a scene. The scene where Rocky has Adrian in his apartment.
Yeah.
It's a little strange when you watch it now.
Well, he's kind of like he has his hand over her head.
Well, she's
against the refrigerator.
Yeah, right? She's like saying she wants to leave, and he's saying no, and he's kind of like blocking the door. It's like, I think if that was written today, it'd be written differently.
He did it kindly, though. He didn't force her to stay.
If you go back and watch it, because me and my wife watched the movie recently.
You think that scene's creepy?
Well, I don't know if they would allow that scene in today's society.
Really?
Well, I'm telling you, go back and watch that scene now. It's a little bit weird. It is. It's a little weird.
I remember the scene distinctly. I don't think it was weird enough to say it's going to be politically incorrect and we can't have it in the movie.
She keeps saying she wants to leave. Look, dude, if people tried to cancel Baby It's Cold Outside, I'm telling you, watch that scene, and there's a chance that I don't think that scene would get approved in 2025. I'm just telling you, watch that scene again.
All right. 610-632-0975. I'm trying to fill out my top 10 of movies. We're all over the place. It's a Friday. We're having fun. We're going into the weekend, all right? It's not brain surgery today.
Oh, another great movie just popped up. Jaws. Excellent movie. That's a great movie, Ray. I hope no one's taking another shot.
I'm going to start.
All right. Mike Missanelli Show back after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
Do you not think that the people that came
740, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 to Fanatic. You want to text in, 610-632-0975. Somehow we got on a movie, John. We'll get back to the Eagles topic that we're talking about. Two Eagles topics, actually. And that Sixer topic. I'd love to get some feedback on how you feel about the social media account releasing the videos of them having fun. What are you having fun for?
Yeah.
You're not a playoff team. Why are you having fun?
Well, the problem is people take everything out of context. So they're having fun at a great event for charity, a great event for the youth of this area. So that's the reason they're fun.
You said it's a bad look.
It is. It's a bad look with the Sixers posting the pictures because people don't read the captions. It's like they post a picture and it says like, keep Yabusele off the dance floor, right?
Yeah.
And people aren't reading to say, oh, well, he's at a Sixers Youth Foundation event that's raising money. All they see is Yabusele dancing.
You're right.
Here's what it says. A dance floor hates to see Gershon coming. And then underneath of it, it says, amazing night at the 10th annual Sixers Youth Foundation Gala. People don't read that far down.
Yeah.
They're like, what the hell is he having a great time for? Why do I got to see him laughing when they're 18 games under 500?
Good point. We'll talk about that more in the 12 o'clock hour. We also have the news at noon coming your way with the great media fight, featuring the great media fight that everybody's talking about. I don't know why everybody's talking about it, but everybody is.
Well, I think Ray hit the nail on the head earlier, too, saying because it's such a slow sports time right now that this just skyrocketed to the top.
It's always good when media, like if the world had perfect justice, media people all beat each other up, right?
Yes.
They all extinguish each other.
People would love that.
Yeah.
The bad media.
How much can you really talk about hand sizes 40 times?
Oh, I watched that last night, by the way.
Oh, you're watching the Combine?
I watched the Combine.
Not watching the Flyers game, then?
I did not watch it. I didn't even know the Flyers were on.
Do you want me to hit the horn?
Nah, they lost in overtime.
They lost in overtime. No horn today, Bill?
Well, that's a valuable point.
But, Ray.
You watched the Flyers over to Combine?
Well, I couldn't. I was at the Sixers Youth Foundation dancing with Gershon Yabusele.
There you go.
But they had a 3-0 lead in that game. Then they went up 4-2 in that game, and they end up losing 5-4 in overtime.
Goalie let them down?
I only watched highlights because, like I said, I wasn't watching it live. It's just, you're up 3-0. You can't lose that game.
But they were up 3-0, and there was no call.
Well, actually, there was a no call.
They could have been up 4-0. Power play, no call.
There was a very controversial play where Garnet Hathaway gets blindsided. Let's hope he's okay with the head. They only give a 2-minute interference call, which the announcers thought was going to be a 5-minute major game misconduct. And then we were talking about it this morning, Haley and I, thinking, all right, well, the NHL is at least going to suspend the guy. No discipline. So a little bit of controversy going on with the
tough loss
the game
for Fly Boys in a home and home.
I know you were so upset about it.
I was.
So instead, you watched the Underwear Olympics on the NFL Network.
I watched the Combine. Yes, I did. I watched the Combine because there were the linebackers were being tested yesterday. So I watched the 40 times. I watched the cone drills, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, let me just fill out my top 10 movies because I thought about it during the break. So my top 5 would be, and a lot of people aren't familiar, like the younger audience is not familiar with the movies that I put. But Godfather absolutely is number 1 for me. And number 2 has always been The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. It's just a fascinating movie for me. And it's so well done. Sergio Leone is like an amazing director. Number 3 would be The Sting. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen The Sting, but this is like Redford Newman in the heyday.
I know what it is, but I have not seen it.
It's a fabulous movie.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of these budget movies, high budget movies they would never make again. My number 4 was Deer Hunter, and number 5 was Pulp Fiction. Now, let me get to 6 because it would be
just so you know. All of your movies are from the 70s outside of Pulp Fiction, which is 1994.
Yeah,
so you don't have a movie in the last 30 years in your top 5.
No, and there's a reason for that. Because they just don't spend the money that they used to spend on it. So when you've seen the way they used to make the movies, they go, wow, it blows me away. I mean, they're just epics. Yeah. So I can't ignore an epic.
Do you have a movie in the 2000s that's in your top 10?
Yeah. Here are my bottom 5.
All right.
Good Godfather 2. Shawshank Redemption.
Great one. A lot of people say that one. Also 94, though.
Braveheart.
Really? 1995.
Epic,
great movie.
Epic movie. The Departed.
That's your most recent, because that's 06.
And Goodfellas. Now I'll get to 15 because I'll go old school with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Classic.
But I'll give you two that were fairly modern back in the same time frame. 7 and The Usual Suspects.
Wow, you got 7 that high. Great movie.
Yes.
There I am again. Great movie.
And so number 14, True Romance, and number 15, Inglourious Bastards.
Interesting. So Inglourious Bastards is the only one that doesn't fall in the 70s or in 93 to 95. 1993 to 1995 was a great time for Mike Missanelli when it came to movies.
Well, you tell me the modern day movies that you would classify as great.
Yeah, there haven't been a lot.
Go ahead, Mr. Smartass.
Now, Inglourious Bastards, here's what I didn't love about Inglourious Bastards. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't love that it was so fictionalized. Like, they kill Hitler at the end.
Well, that's the beauty of it.
I know, but it's just
that's the beauty. It's not a true story.
I know.
It's a well-written, crazy Tarantino movie.
I love when he holds up the 3 fingers in the bar, says, we'll take 3, and he does it wrong, and that's how they know he's American.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool scene.
There you go.
And then the beginning scene, when he's walking around.
His scripts are pretty amazing when you think about it, because Django Unchained is pretty good, too.
Yeah. But he's made, like, Christopher Waltz in that and Django. Christoph Waltz, excuse me. Not Christopher. I'm making him American.
Yeah. Christopher.
But Christopher, that opening scene in Inglourious Bastards where he's walking around and they're hiding in the floorboards, that's a pretty
tremendous.
wild. Yeah, pretty wild.
It's tremendous. It's a tremendous movie.
Now, one of them that I love, that's probably the most recent, and this is still 12 years old now, which is crazy, The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
That's a movie that whenever it's on, I watch it. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
I hated that guy, though.
Yes, of course you hate him.
You hate him. It's like, yeah, that's why I can't. Like, I'll watch it, and the first time I watched it, okay, I can't go back to it. I don't go back to it.
Yeah, I've watched that a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Like, every time that's on, I'll watch that movie. But yeah, I mean, he's hard to like.
I can see why you would like that movie because it's a bunch of bros. Because you're the bro mentality guy. So that was a bro mentality movie. That's why you like that movie. You're a bro.
I don't know, Ray.
Right?
Would you classify me as a bro?
Wall Street?
Would I classify you as a bro?
You're a total bro.
No answer.
That's
on
why
that whole
movie.
No comment.
That whole movie is about bros, and you're a bro. That's why you love it.
And of course, I've seen that movie. I went to college after it came out. I mean, that's
okay.
like
So you saw The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Is that not a movie of bros? And wouldn't that fit right into what he is?
Yes, I think it inspired a generation of people to go into finance.
You made it right.
Yeah, you're pretty right. It's like Wall Street did that too with like the old school movie with Charlie Sheen and Michael Douglas.
A lot of people missed the entire point of that movie and just like, oh, Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, I'm going to go into finance.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a legal inside trade.
Yes.
Yeah, like
the whole thing is like, wow, this guy's living a crazy life. It's like he's not supposed to be.
It's a felony, basically.
People are like, oh, wow.
No, listen, I love the movie because Margot Robbie is, and oh my God.
Yeah, she's
good. God,
gorgeous in that movie, man. Gorgeous. But the movie you're talking about is Wall Street with Michael Douglas, right? That's the one you were talking about.
Yeah, where greed is good.
Speaking of Michael Douglas,
Gordon Gekko.
We're going all over the place.
Famous character.
A movie that I thought was phenomenal with Michael Douglas that doesn't get discussed enough. Falling Down.
Oh, where he's the psycho.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been beaten down, and he becomes the postman who goes crazy.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. And
pretty good movie.
Who's the woman that's in that? Who's his wife in that? It's somebody like underrated beauty. Isn't it? Who's his wife? You got it in front of you?
I'm looking for it.
We'll take a break. We'll come back because I remember his wife in that movie. Mike Missanelli Show continues after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles hire quarterbacks coach. I'm Ray Dunn. This update's brought to you by Delilah's. Don't miss any of the action on the hardwood and certainly any of the after parties. Show your ticket to Delilah's for complimentary admission after every home game. Delilah's Gentlemen's Club, always on top. Eagles filled vacancy on their coaching staff left by Doug Nussmeier's departure to become the New Orleans offensive coordinator. Eagles' new quarterbacks coach will be Bowling Green head coach Scott Loeffler, who spent the last 15 years in college football, including a stop in 2011 as Temple offensive coordinator. Speaking of college football, NFL Combine well underway in Indianapolis, and it's going until Monday, of course, leading up to the NFL's draft in April. Elsewhere, 76ers hosted their youth gala last night. Andrew Salciunas, Bill Colarulo were live from the event, spoke with Nick Nurse about how tough a season it has been.
It's been really, really difficult. There's been some times where we haven't handled that very well, but that's the message. Got to play better. Got to continue to hope that.
Certainly a strategy for this 76ers team. 18 games under 500, back in action on Saturday against the Warriors. Flyers lost 5-4 in overtime to the Penguins in Pittsburgh last night. Phillies got strong outings from Zach Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, and Jordan Romano yesterday in Grapefruit League action. Back in action today against the Red Sox with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. Free UPS shipping at code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5, The Fanatic.
7:55, Mike Missanelli Show. All right, we're all over the map today, and we got the news at noon coming your way. But amongst the topics we have talked about, the Eagles and their free agent situation, which we talked about right at the start of this show. There are people saying that the Eagles situation, their free agent situation, is going to hurt them more than anybody else in the league. They lose certain free agents. And I have the exact opposite. Like, wow, it's not really the opposite. But I thought this was kind of an easy rebuild that Howie would have to have here if he signs one guy, and that's Zach Bond. So if they lost, in my opinion, if they lost Milton Williams, that would be a blow. But I think Ajomo is on his way to being a Milton Williams. If they lose Josh Sweat, I go, okay, well, he's been inconsistent, and he had a good year on a contract year. They have Nolan Smith. They have Jalix Hunt. They back that up. And they also backed up the cornerback situation. If they lose Slay and Avonte Maddox, to me, is not a big loss at all. But this story says that the Eagles are going to be the most stressed by losing their free agents. And, Bill, you kind of agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. And now it all depends on, obviously, what Howie Roseman does to replenish what you're losing, because you are losing a lot of contributors to your defense, most importantly. Like, assuming they only sign Zach Bond, and I think that's probably what happens. They bring back Zach Bond, and you lose Williams, and you lose Sweat, and you lose Brandon Graham. You're probably going to have to do something with Darius Slay. You're losing Avonte Maddox, as you said, which isn't a huge loss because you have Cooper DeJean. It's just you do have a lack of depth now along your defensive line. And we know how much they love their defensive line. You think Maro Ajomo's ready to step up. Let me just look, because I don't know how much he actually played this year. I want to see what his snap count was, because I don't think he had. So he played this season 37% of the snaps, which is up from 13% as a rookie. So maybe he's progressing. Maybe he's progressing. You got Jordan Davis coming back, who we know has become more of just a nose tackle kind of run stopper there in the middle. Jalen Carter, you relied on heavily this year. He played a ton of reps. You're going to have to bring in a second or third wave free agent, not maybe a big ticket. See, this is where the Eagles have their advantage, Mike, as I'm looking at this. Where the Eagles have the advantage is players who maybe hit the market, who don't get the contract that they thought that they were worthy of, may take a one-year prove-it deal here, being surrounded by all the talent that the Eagles have, because they know, hey, I can go play for a contender like the Eagles. I can play on a defense that has guys like Jalen Carter on that defensive line. I have a good season. Now I get my payday. So what the Eagles have to hope is similar to what happened with James Bradbury 2 years ago, even though it didn't work out because he fell off a cliff. But you thought you were going to lose James Bradbury after the Super Bowl. He goes, hits the open market, doesn't necessarily get the deal that he thought he was going to get. He comes here. You know, guys like Zach Bond leave New Orleans. Really, no one's giving him a big payday. He signs a one-year deal, has a great season. So maybe you get some of those guys to replenish, but you got to do something. You can't go into the season, obviously, with no depth along that D-line.
Yeah, I get it. I think they're in fairly decent shape, and they would not be hampered if they lost. If they lost Blonde, they would. But if they don't, I think they're going to be fine. You're listening to the Mike Missanelli Show on WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, and we broadcast from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's noontime. Happy lunchtime to y'all. And to celebrate lunch, we always go to a thing that we like to call the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Oh, yes. Producer Ray Dunn. The news at noon. He's all over it with the story that's sweeping the nation, Ray. Tell us about it.
That's right, man. This is what I've been waiting all day to get into. It's the smackdown at the Starbucks. It's Jordan Schultz. It's Ian Rappaport. Two insiders battling it out in Indianapolis. The most interesting thing that's ever come out of the NFL Combine.
Yeah, two nudniks going at each other. All right, go ahead.
It's a source off, and we're going to talk about it here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with yesterday's events. All this happens Wednesday. Thursday, there's all the reaction to it. Oh my goodness, 2 reporters going after one another at the Starbucks. No punches were thrown, but it felt like there were.
No punches thrown. It was a spitting war.
One guy was mad at the other one because he didn't have the same exact report. It's awesome.
2 JOs in a Starbucks.
Let's start with the McAfee show.
God.
Rich Eisen, Daniel Jeremiah both go on Pat McAfee yesterday, and this is how the afternoon begins down there at the Combine. Jeremiah makes a little bit of a wisecrack, and guess who comes walking on up as all this is going on?
Do you guys have a recommendation for a good smoothie spot?
Tropical Smoothie Cafe is the right
Because I've heard coffee shops not safe these days. So if I want just a little something to refresh,
Interesting.
I would love a smoothie.
Yeah. Stay away from Starbucks.
Yeah.
Speaking of, holy hell.
Oh my God. Yes. Come on. NFL Network's greatest Americano.
There he is.
Ian Rappaport.
That's actually not bad.
No. I know we usually have a no McAfee policy here.
That's not that.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, something I would do. Well, anyway.
They put up the tail of the tape as well, the height, weight, never been for the 2 insiders while Rappaport's standing right there. It was wonderful theater there by the McAfee show. But the day continues, all right? They now have a job to do. The Combine's going to happen. And Rich Eisen, Daniel Jeremiah have to cut to Rappaport at one point to give an update on Abdul Carter and what they think the surgery, no surgery storyline's going to do for his draft stock. And this is how they introduce one Ian Rappaport.
There is one other member of our broadcast team we've got to bring in. And he is the Jake Paul of NFL Network. Lots of buzz. He's trending with no punches thrown. Ian Rappaport. Rap sheet?
Thank you, Rich. Yeah, I would say I'm
He looks a little under-caffeinated, actually, to be honest.
No, I'm properly caffeinated. A lot of great coffee brands. Dunkin' does a really nice job. Nice. Actually is a fantastic coffee. I could go on and on about the coffee brands that I love. That's not for right now.
Well, at least he's taking it in good spirits. Now, I don't know who got the best of who in that little shouting match, right? Do we know?
Well, we're starting to see a lot of the NFL media side with the elder statesman of this back and forth.
Rap sheet.
It does feel like Rappaport's getting a lot more of the
Rap
support
sheet, how you
here.
doing, Rap sheet?
He did get the Duncan jab in there, which is one that that's well done on his part.
All right, so at least they're not hiding from it. I guess you can at this point. Yeah. And then we go to inside the NBA, which I know Chuck said something about it, right?
Yes. Chuck and Shaq, believe it or not, disagree on this topic.
Oh, no.
Who would have seen that coming? Here's Inside the NBA last night addressing this.
Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm in a good mood, man.
Why is that?
Well, because I was at Starbucks today.
And?
It's dangerous in there, Ernie.
What happened?
There's fish flying everywhere. I was like, see, I don't normally go to Starbucks because that's where rich white folks go. I used going to get
rich white folks go
I love to go with black folks.
That's the place with it.
Yeah,
apparently it's where a lot of reporters go.
Apparently.
$2 coffee is where you have to be rich.
Ain't no $2 coffee. They should be drinking Folgers like the rest of us.
Oh my God! Hey, you know we're in the presence. Hey, Jordan Schultz of Fox verbally accosted Ian Rappaport of NFL Media at an Indianapolis Starbucks on Wednesday afternoon.
Jordan.
A report was made to NFL security.
Jack, you see that kind of word they use? Accosted.
Yeah, accosted.
Whooping his ass. That's what happened.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, you'll stop talking now. Jordan. Get that Frappuccino thing right next time.
Hey, you know we're in the presence of royalty tonight. What?
What's that?
You know what's funny about that story?
What is?
I've been knowing Jordan for a long time. Of course, his father's Howard Schultz. He could have owned all the franchise, but he decided to go a different route. I've always respected Jordan for that. But yeah, Jordan, hope you got it.
Ian. I got Ian in this one.
May 19th.
Let's do it. 19th. Hey, we'll let them go first as a warm-up, then me and you can go.
Two guys named Ian and Jordan. Yeah. Just laying it down.
So pay-per-view, could you see it? Rappaport and Schultz, and then Shaq and Charles.
So, who would you like to see square up, Bill, of the media writers in Philadelphia? Well, as I say, they covered football.
I'll tell you.
All the football writers. Go ahead. Give me the match.
I would put our Andrew DeCecco here up against anybody. Like, if we were going to put our Birds Insider up against the Birds Insider of a station we will not name, I think Andrew DeCecco, first-round knockout. First round knockout.
I'm going Dave Zangaro. I think he put up a fight.
I'm taking Pacheco every day of the week.
I'm talking to City Man. I'm taking him in the corner. Come on, Z.
Oh, man.
All right, the last one here. Such a big story. We had to have 4 pieces of
Wait a minute.
pieces of audio.
Zangaro versus Rube. Who you got there?
I'll go with Rube in that one.
All right.
I think Rube would win that one.
I can't take it.
Oh, man.
Come on, Z. Throw that left. I'm sorry.
Rappaport goes on to wrap up his combine.
Wait, you got more?
Yeah.
There's more.
Body punches, Z. Come on.
I love this story. You don't understand.
Oh, my God.
Rappaport goes on after Inside the NBA came on the air and gave a nice thank you to Charles and offered quite the basketball take after this.
You know, Rose, I have always respected Charles Barkley. He's a gentleman, he is a scholar, and he is the best basketball player on that set. That's all I have to say.
All right.
So he's taking a shot at Shaq?
He's taking a shot at Shaq. That's not a fight you're going to win, Rap. You might have won the reputation war with you and Schultz through all this. Don't pick a fight with Shaq.
See, this is all
Ian Rappaports to get to the size of Shaq.
This is only positive for Jordan Schultz because Schultz is not on Rappaport's level. Like, Ian Rappaport has over 4 million Twitter followers. Schultz has 326,000. So think about this now with Schultz's name being everywhere across the board. This is helping him, don't you think? Like, Rappaport is more well-known than Jordan Schultz. So the fact that Schultz is getting talked about on every single broadcast, this was smart. Maybe I'll go pick a fight with somebody at a Starbucks.
You really taking Rube?
I'm going to go. Maybe we'll talk with. I should have maybe confronted Adam Schefter in New Orleans when we saw him, when he didn't know who John Kincade was.
Oh, come on.
It's me, Johnny. It was a dark restaurant.
Oh.
Then he realized. Then he realized who it was. But Schefter's face.
It's me, Johnny.
Yeah, Schefter thought he was getting confronted by John and Andrew.
All right.
But then he realized who they were.
All right, now hold it. Let's get back to it. We got a break coming up. But Zangaro, Rube. You taking Rube? I don't know. It's a lot of area for Zangaro to stick. You stick.
Yeah, but Rube's a lot bigger.
Stick and move away from the wiggle.
Right? I mean, I don't know. I think Rube's a lot taller, too, isn't he? He's probably got a longer reach.
I'm just having fun, dude.
Oh, I'm really analyzing it. Well, you know, the tail of the tape.
Oh, 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico, and Silver.
Is this a joke call?
What don't you understand? This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. This is bad. This is very, very bad.
Who is he? You would be wrong, but that's okay.
Whether you like it or not, love it.
Dog mentality.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
All right, it's the Mike Missanelli Show. That's right. Letting all the drops and letting the people know that I'm not back in the studio yet.
He loves it. Like, I'm sitting here. I could have brought us back, but Ray just loves hitting the drops.
They hear your voice plenty.
I was starving, man. I had to go out and get some. I got some strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Nah, I just had my Kind bar.
Oh, of course you did.
I had a Pop-Tart, not this week, last week. Went downstairs to the little mart they've got, the bottom basement floor.
They have what?
The mart they've got down there.
They've got a mart?
Yeah,
in the basement.
In the basement. Lower level.
You ever been down there?
No.
Oh, nice. We'll take you there sometime.
What do they have there?
It's cash only, though.
Yeah, cash only. And no, is it?
What do they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it's cash only.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I definitely used
What do
cash.
they have? Sandwiches?
No.
Oh, what?
No, it's like a little mart.
No, but they have brown cinnamon sugar Pop-Tarts, which is my Pop-Tart of choice.
I've never had that one.
Oh, it's my favorite.
I'm a strawberry man without icing, so this has icing on it. It's just problematic for me.
It's ridiculous.
The
way you eat.
In front of Bill.
Bill.
Mr. Health.
I'm not that ill. I mean, I ate well at the Youth Foundation Gala last night for the Sixers.
Oh, you freeloaded last night?
They had cheesesteaks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Free food. If it's free, it's for me.
True.
They had nice bread. Chess Cafe catered it.
Very nice. They catered my daughter's wedding.
Yeah, they do a good job.
They really do.
They did Andrew Salciunas' wedding, too.
Did they? Oh, that was a shindig, by the way. That wedding.
Salciunas, you were there?
Well, yeah. Way back in the day. That was.
Were you there, Ray?
Salciunas had no idea who I was when he got married.
Salciunas.
I thought Salciunas is the reason you're here.
Yeah.
Oh, but this was before you met?
Before I had met Salciunas, yeah.
Because, you know, Salciunas brought Ray here.
Even if he knew me at that point, I would have been a college student. It would have been incredibly weird for him to just be like, yeah, I'm mentoring this kid. I'm going to throw him a bone.
They had the Lithuanian dance at his wedding.
I don't know what that is.
They had like scarves and stuff. And
oh, that's cool.
People, it was pretty festive.
I met Mrs. Salciunas last night.
Oh, you did?
Because him and
Christy?
I both brought the wives. So it was a nice little night
you bring
out.
the wife last night?
Yeah. Wife made an appearance.
Oh, you got some free food? Got the wife?
Open bar.
It's like a free day for you.
It was. We had to rush home, though, for the baby.
Event.
We had to rush home for the baby. We can't be away too long.
How's that going, by the way?
It's fine, man. I'm getting sleep. Yeah, I'm getting sleep. My wife not as much as I am, but it's been really good.
Abdul Carter is not getting surgery. Still might be the number one pick in the draft. Do you think that would deter anybody from taking him number one?
It's possible. It's possible with this injury.
It's a stress reaction. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's possible. I think he should still be.
Heal.
Yeah, I think he should still be number one.
Okay, so if he's number one, how many Penn State players in history of the draft have been selected number one? I don't know the answer to this question. I think I know it. I think it's only one other. I think it's one other. I think it's Courtney Brown, the defensive tackle. Believe it or not, was taken number one, and then I think LeVar Arrington went number two in the same draft, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. I don't know where LeVar went to.
I'm trying to
Penn State. I'm trying to think of all the players Penn State had. Who else would be the number one pick in the draft? And I can't come up with anybody.
So who'd you say went number one?
Courtney Brown.
It looks like Blair Thomas went number 2 overall in the 1990 draft.
Yeah, Courtney Brown went number one to the Cleveland Browns.
You're missing one.
Who?
Maybe one of the biggest busts ever to come out of Penn State because of injury.
Number one?
Yes.
How long ago?
1995.
1995? Number one in the draft?
Drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, Kajana
Carter. Yeah.
Was drafted number one?
That's what it says. Let me see. Let me make sure of that. He was drafted number one overall.
Was drafted number one overall. Kajana Carter.
How much times have changed?
Wow.
Number one overall in the 95 draft.
All right, so when was Courtney Brown? 2001?
Courtney Brown, the defensive end?
I thought he was a tackle, but he could have been a different defensive end. He was definitely number one, though.
Number one in 2000.
2000. Yeah. Browns, right?
He got drafted by the Cleveland Browns, correct.
All right, there you go. So Penn State's illustrious history. They've had only two previous number one draft picks in the whole draft.
Yeah, Courtney Brown.
And this might be the third.
And you were correct. LeVar Arrington went number 2 in that same draft. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other Penn State in number 1. I'm not saying that.
I don't think
you're
so.
right.
I think, and that's really kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, because Saquon went number 2.
Yeah,
that is kind of weird when you look at how good of a program they've had.
Yeah. So,
they haven't even had that many first-round draft picks, to be honest with you.
And Abdul Carter will be the only number one drafted player from this area.
Yeah, he grew up an Eagles fan. He was talking about that.
He grew up in Fort Washington area.
That's why
he went to LaSalle High.
I think he took his dad to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
He was very excited about that.
So would he be the biggest local product that was ever drafted number one? Think about all the Philadelphia players who were drafted number one. Who would they be in all sports? 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles hire quarterbacks coach. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles filled the vacancy on their coaching staff left by Doug Nussmeier's departure to be the Saints offensive coordinator. As the Birds naming the new quarterbacks coach as the former Bowling Green head coach, Scott Loeffler, who has spent the last 15 years in college football. Loeffler spent 2011 as Temple offensive coordinator. Speaking of college football, the NFL Combine is underway in Indianapolis. It's going up until Monday. Of course, get a chance to look at prospects in the lead up to the NFL's April draft. Elsewhere, the 76ers host their youth gala last night, and Andrew Salciunas, Bill Colorado broadcasted live from it, spoke with Nick Nurse about just how tough a season this has been.
It's been really, really difficult. There's been some times where we haven't handled that very well, but that's the message. Got to play better. Got to continue to hope that.
Hope is certainly something they're looking for right now with in 18 games under 500, 20-38. They're back in action on Saturday against the Warriors. Flyers lost 5-4 last night to the Penguins in Pittsburgh. They blew a 3-0 lead in that game. Phillies got strong outings from Zach Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, Jordan Romano yesterday in Grapefruit League action. They're back in action today against the Red Sox. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for them. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping and code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
right, it's 12:25, Mike Missanelli Show. You say stuff and you start to think in your head about, like, I just made a statement that Abdul Carter has a chance to be the highest drafted local product ever. Now, I'm saying that not knowing if anybody else in any other sport was drafted number one in this area. So I'm going into my brain, I'm going, who could have been drafted high enough to be the number one local product, to be the number one pick? The first guy that came to my mind was Rasheed Wallace. But he was not drafted number one. He was drafted number 4, and I believe the Sixers took Jerry Stackhouse before him in that draft.
Oh, Jerry Stackhouse.
See if I'm right. They had a chance to take Rasheed. They did not take Rasheed. I think Jerry Stackhouse was taken. Was he a number 1 pick, Jerry Stackhouse?
Let me see.
3?
You're right. They took Stackhouse.
They took Stackhouse before.
They also
Rasheed.
took him before Kevin Garnett.
Okay.
Garnett went number 5.
Well, he was a high school player.
And fun fact about Jerry Stackhouse, I bought those hideous Fila sneakers that he had.
Really?
I had the Jerry Stackhouse sneaks
we were
back in the
supposed to
day.
pair with Iverson. That was going to be dynamic. Never worked out. But Rasheed Wallace was picked 4th. So basketball, I can't think of anybody else who would have been a local product who was picked number 1 in the modern era now. Now, in baseball, Ben Davis was the 2nd overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft. Were you aware of that, Bill?
I was not Chester product, right?
He went to Malvern Prep.
Gotcha.
2nd pick in the draft. Still not a number 1 pick.
I can't think of any number 1s now that you're saying it. I don't know.
I think that Abdul Carter has a chance to be the highest drafted local product ever if he is taken number 1.
Yeah, like people in the YouTube chat are saying Kobe Bryant, but he went 13th overall. He may be one of the greatest local products ever, but we're just asking who was drafted number 1 overall. And Wilt Chamberlain wasn't drafted, right? Because he went to the Globetrotters first.
They had territorial rights back then.
Yeah, so it was no draft.
So the Philadelphia, there was a draft, but the Sixers had territorial rights for Wilt.
Yeah, but he wasn't drafted, right?
I think they had a draft, but there was some kind of quirk where you could
guys from your area.
Guys from the area.
Got it.
You can grab them before anybody else could. So I'm looking at that baseball draft with Ben Davis. Darren Erstadt was taken number 1 out of Nebraska. Now, he played a lot of years for the California Angels, so he became a more successful Major League player. Jose Cruz was selected 3rd. Jose Cruz Jr. So that's Jose Cruz's son. Kerry Wood was drafted 4th. He became a very good pitcher. Ariel Prieto was drafted. Baseball's really hard in the first round to become a really good Major League player. Who was the best guy in that first round draft that was drafted? Roy Halladay.
Oh, yeah.
Drafted 17th overall in that draft that Ben Davis was in. How about that?
Yeah, baseball is probably the toughest to hit on your draft picks.
Yeah, it is. So there you go. Just a fun fact. All right, so Bill last night, in a very interesting situation, was kind of like lamenting the fact that he had to be Mr. Happy at the Sixers gala event last night. And the word was whether he was going to be able to interview the head coach, he and Andrew Salciunas, the head coach, Nick Nurse, last night, or whether they're going to keep him away and you were going to get the schmo players to interview.
Yeah, we got Quentin Grimes.
Quentin Grimes.
Which seems like a nice guy. Very nice guy. He bounced around, so it was cool to hear his experience in Philly now.
But you did get Nick Nurse.
We did get Nick Nurse.
Now, your mindset was to go in soft.
Yeah, well, we wanted to
go in soft.
We wanted to hit him with some easy questions, get him comfortable. Like, we weren't going to, I couldn't ask him, Nick, do you think you've done enough to keep your job? Like, we weren't going to do that.
No, you couldn't do that with the first question. But let's see how you handled this situation.
I hit him with an easy one
from last night.
So you talk about kids. I want to talk about an Iowa kid who had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. So you're an Iowa guy.
Unbelievable.
Right? You're an Iowa guy. So what do you think of Cooper DeJean, man?
He actually grew up less than 40 miles from where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
And, he was unbelievable at Iowa, obviously. I mean, I know you guys probably know a lot more than I do, but I watched a lot of games when he played and all those punt returns and all those huge plays he had, and he's just a player, right? And I was super excited when the Eagles drafted him, and then as we get to the course of the season, they start starting him, and he's a huge reason the defense is so good, or one of many, right?
Yes, definitely.
And then he makes a spectacular play.
Incredible
on the Super Bowl,
play.
man. That's like a dream come true for
on his
for a
birthday
small-town
too.
Iowa. That's a dream come true for a small town Iowa.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
on his birthday.
So we got him there. Look, he's happy. Okay, this is going to be easy. And then the next question that we hit him with was how frustrating the season's been, and that's been the audio you've been playing in your updates, right? So you got to ease it in. I mean, you hear the music in the background. It's not the time or place to hit the guy over the head with tough questions. Why is Ray looking over the screen at me like that? What are you looking at?
I'm waiting for someone else to respond.
Oh, I thought you were looking at me for some reason. Yes, you had to hit him with a softball to start. And then you hit him with the tougher question, which was how frustrating the season's been, how's it looked for him, and what's the message going forward. And then we even got into how hard it must be not knowing your injuries and who's playing night in and night out. But you couldn't come out of the gate and hit him with a tough question. Look, I learned this in depositions, man. It's the reason why I start talking to people about their family to start. You get him comfortable. Because he was already guarded when he sat down. You got to lower his guard. Then you hit him with the questions. Why, you wouldn't have done that? You would have been at the Sixers Youth Foundation, Mike, and you would have come right out of the gate and been like, this season's been a disaster. What have you done? You can't do that there. You can't. Not to mention, Sixers only gave him because they knew we weren't going to go after him. It's a charity event. It's a charity event. Why do you keep looking at me like that? What do you want me to ask him?
I wouldn't have done that.
Well, you would have come right out of the gate?
No, I would. Well, I would have come out of the gate with a question that was around the subject. I wouldn't have come in for the kill right away, but I would have softened the question a little bit. But I would not have started out with Cooper DeJean.
Well, we didn't. We started out with the first question we asked him was about
I'm talking about your first
his
question.
charity, and then we talked about Cooper, and then we brought it to the Sixers. So we had look. It wasn't the time or the place, man. It was.
No, it certainly was the time or the place to ask him a question about the season.
Which we got into.
I don't want to get into like I'm criticizing you, but I would not have gone happy talk with Cooper DeJean. I would have gone, Nick. Listen, we all know what's going on here. I'm just asking you. I would just like you to reflect on what you feel about this team right now.
Which we got into with him.
Yeah, but you didn't do it right away.
No, because you don't.
Yeah,
he would have been guarded.
I would have said to you, like, I thought it was too, like, pandering.
So it would have been too guarded on his part. I actually think we got more out of him when we asked the question after we settled in.
I don't know. Maybe you
He actually gave us a pretty good answer.
Maybe not, but like you pandered a little bit because you threw in, oh, yeah, wow. You threw a wow in there and you threw a whatever.
That was Andrew who threw the wow in.
Oh,
but yes.
You threw in towards the end you threw in something.
Yes, you had to, the time and the place. When you have in front of you, when you got a DJ and you got a Papa Shot and you got things about the charity foundation, it's not the time or the place to hit the guy over the head.
You don't have to. You're misinterpreting hitting over the head with a legit question. Nobody's hitting him over the head, but there's to me you don't go with Cooper DeJean. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not trying.
No. But if you play,
that's why I didn't say anything. That's why I was just looking at you.
Yeah, but if you play the rest of the interview, we got more out of him. See, here's the thing.
Wait a minute. Cooper DeJean is a topic that you can talk at the end of an interview with. Like on the way out, you can throw that in.
Yes.
Like, first and foremost, when you get him there, you can't not ask him, even if you soften the question, you have to ask him about the season.
Which we did. And I feel like we got a more candid response because he felt comfortable. See, if he sat down and you opened up with the way you were going to open up, he would have given you a very guarded answer.
I opened up soft. I would have said, listen, we all know what's going on. You know what's going on. I'm just curious to know, like, what is your reaction right now? Like, that would have been a soft question, but it also would have been on the subject.
Correct. But, again, I think we got more out of him. You get more bees with honey sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you don't. And in sports journalism, I think when you have an audience that's expecting a certain thing, you go for that certain thing. You deliver your audience the goods.
Under normal circumstances, if it's our radio show from 10 to 2, correct. Not there last night, man. Not when the whole purpose of the thing is to talk about Sixers youth and charities. So Andrew opens up with a question about Knicks charity, and I'm going to follow up with, all right, let's get to the nitty-gritty here.
Yes, that's what you're going to follow.
Softened them. We softened them into it.
610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, 40 Mike Missanelli Show. We'll get back to the text board in a second, but I think I found a previous number one pick of a local guy So Abdul Carter can only tie this man if he's drafted number 1. The local product drafted number 1 from this area, Irving Fryer, the wide receiver out of Nebraska, taken number 1 overall. Way back in what draft was that?
96. Oh, no, not 96. I'm sorry. That was Marvin Harrison I was looking at. Irving Fryer was 1984.
1984, number 1 pick out of Rancocas Valley High.
Yeah, I guess that's got to be the best.
He's number 1. Nobody so far. I thought Matt Ryan had a chance. Matt Ryan was number 3 overall. Ben Davis, number 2 overall. Rasheed Wallace, number 4 overall. Irving Fryer, number 1. So there you go. You got Fryer, Ben Davis, Matt Ryan, Rasheed Wallace in that order of the highest draft picks in this area. Unless I'm missing somebody else.
Yeah, I was thinking when you said Rancocas Valley, now I went back to look at Franco Harris, but he was taken 13th overall. Yeah, I think you're right. The number 1 draft pick.
Wait a minute. How about the guy that played at Nebraska with Irving Fryer, local product out of Camden, Mike Rozier. How high was he drafted?
2nd in 1984.
How about that?
He was right behind Irving.
How about that? Those two guys went 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Mike Rozier and Irving Fryer.
Yeah, Rozier went to Woodrow Wilson. Where was... Oh, there was a couple others. Now, I was looking at Ron Dane. Ron Dane got picked 11th overall.
What about Micah Parsons? What was he selected?
12th or 13th.
Was he really?
Like that. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go. How about that? I expected there would have been a basketball player, but Rasheed Wallace, the highest drafted basketball player from a guy from this area?
It just doesn't seem right to me. With all the good athletes that have come through this area. But unless anyone in our YouTube chat or on our text board, try to correct us here. We're talking about number 1 overall picks.
We got the submission of Reggie Jackson being number 2.
Reggie Jackson, the baseball player, Reggie Jackson, was drafted number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so far we got Ben Davis and Reggie Jackson as the highest drafted baseball players.
Yeah, Kevin Cooney weighed in that Blair Thomas from Frankford High School, but he was drafted 2nd.
Yeah, he was drafted 2nd. No, there's a lot of number 1. So Fryer so far, and possibly Abdul Carter. All right, what do we have on the text board? Of all the subjects we talked about, Ray, Dunn, just hit us up with some text.
We got Michael Kidd-Gilchrist as another submission. Out of Kentucky, was drafted number 2, South Jersey kid.
Okay.
Trying to get
so he goes as the highest basketball player so far. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, huh?
Apparently.
All right.
Where'd DeJuan Wagner get drafted?
It's a good question.
We got Dawood checking in for a movie. The Last Boy Scout.
The Last Boy Scout is one of my favorite campy movies. It's a horrendous movie, but it's so fun to watch. It's right up there with Roadhouse and with Point Break as the 3 worst movies ever that will entertain you.
So 2 of your top 3 have Swayze in it.
Well, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
I thought Swayze was the worst actor ever in history.
What about Ghost? Did you like him in Ghost?
No, Ghost was not my kind of movie.
What else was Swayze in? Well, Dirty Dancing.
Ghost is such a chick movie. Really, isn't it?
It's, Whoopi Goldberg. I'm trying to remember some scenes in that movie.
Oh, he's behind her. The ghost is behind her as she's making the pottery. He's guiding her hands. Do you remember that scene?
There's a lot of good scenes in that movie. That's a good movie. Ghost. There's a nice chick flick.
That's a good movie.
Good.
I didn't say great.
Good. There we go. We found the tier below great.
I did not. He didn't say great.
The texter was curious.
The Last Boy Scout. Do you like?
Yeah, Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah, it's horrendously bad, and yet it's so watchable.
I haven't seen that. Now, if I'm going to say one of my bad movies that I love, and I know you'll laugh at this one, School of Rock with Jack Black.
Yeah,
really love that movie.
You like the movies with the kids in it?
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm just a kid at heart.
What is that about you?
Maybe I'm a kid at heart.
You like the Sandlot too.
I didn't like the Sandlot this much. I like Little Giants.
Oh, Little Giants. That's right. It was Little Giants.
Little Giants. Mighty Ducks. No one mentioned Mighty Ducks.
You like the Mighty Ducks?
The Triple Deke, baby.
Movie.
The Triple Deke.
Would that be on your top 10 list?
Quack, quack, quack. Mr. Ducksworth. I think that's his name. Gordon Bombay.
Give me your favorite hockey movies.
My favorite
number one hockey movie would be Slapshot?
No, I've told you
don't
this
like Slapshot?
I do, but I told you before what my number one movie was.
Youngblood?
Youngblood. Oh, no. It's my favorite hockey movie of all time.
Lowe?
Yeah, it's my favorite hockey movie of all time.
Text board's very upset that Miracle hasn't been brought up more.
Oh,
I got Miracle in my top 5.
Miracle will be number 2 for me. What'd you think of Mystery Alaska? Did you like that movie?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
But I loved Youngblood.
Hank Azaria as the agent guy.
Yeah. Now, I would say Miracle is probably the best hockey movie, but Youngblood is my favorite hockey movie. I loved that movie.
Jumping back to the high draft picks conversation, some of our good friends up in the northeastern part of the state are upset that Saquon Barkley has not been submitted for the local products to be drafted high.
He wasn't number 1. He was number 2.
Yeah, he was number 1. He's number 2. We talked about Saquon.
And DeJuan Wagner, I don't know if you heard me, he was drafted 6th overall. DeJuan Wagner actually told me to shut the bleep up when he played for Camden.
What?
Yeah, so he went to Camden the same time I was at Bishop Eustace.
What, were you a fan at Eustace? You were heckling him?
Yeah, so I was heckling him from the crowd.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Because I
see what a punk he was. I told you that when he comes up to me at Temple University when I'm speaking, he says, "Hi, who are you, Howard Eskin?" Like,
they came in
a little punk when you were younger.
They came into.
What about the Acres thing yesterday?
Yeah, Acres. Yeah.
No, well, Camden High came into Bishop Eustace, and it was a really good game. Place was jammed. It was crowded with Eustace fans, Camden fans. It was awesome. There's nothing better than like a jammed high school basketball
was
gym.
Eustace good in basketball?
They usually were pretty good back in the day. And they played them tough. And Wagner, I mean, we were all over him the whole game. We were playing him tough the whole game. And then, so we were like in his, chanting and trying to heckle him. And then he went off like in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So he turned to me after he dropped one of the 3 and gave me like, shut the bleep up.
Did he really?
Yeah, like that's what you're going to get. And he was unbelievable, DeJuan Wagner, back in the day.
Tell me you were like the leader of that student section.
No, I wasn't. Honestly, because I played ice hockey too, so I wasn't at a lot of the games. But that one I was at.
You were front row.
Look at these preppy little bastards from Bishop Eustace heckling DeJuan Wagner with your little sport coats on. I could just see this.
It is a prep school, but not all of us are like preppy.
No, obviously you weren't.
No. But no, it was fun.
See, that's where you get your bro thing from, though. The Eustace the background. The preppy little blazer wearers.
I don't know. maybe college, too. Maybe like be in the frat with the athletes and stuff because our frat was football, basketball, baseball, pretty much.
All right, heckling DeJuan Wagner. I know. The more I do a show with you, the more I'm learning about you.
How do you not heckle him? I mean, that was an awesome game. You had to.
How many enemies have you created with just the fact that you keep talking sometimes?
It's always in good nature, though.
That was good nature. Hey, what were you saying?
Good nature.
What were you saying, DeJuan Wagner?
Honestly, I don't remember.
You suck, DeJuan.
I was like
I guarantee you.
I was like 16, 17 years old.
What could you possibly be heckling with? You suck, DeJuan. What else?
I don't know. Brick, maybe one of those air ball. Hit him with those types of things.
I don't think he shot an air ball.
He was a stud, man.
610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles hire a quarterback coach. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Natural Lawn of America. Get free seeding every year called 800 Free Seed Now. The Eagles filled the vacancy on their coaching staff left by Doug Musmeyer's departure to become New Orleans offensive coordinator. The Eagles' new quarterbacks coach will be Bowling Green head coach Scott Loeffler, who has spent the last 15 years in college football, including a stop in 2011 as the Temple offensive coordinator. Speaking of college football, NFL Combine well underway out there in Indianapolis, going until Monday as we get a look at some of the prospects that will be selected in April's NFL draft. Elsewhere, 76ers host their youth gala last night. Andrew Salciunas, Bill Colarulo were at the gala live broadcasting and spoke to Nick Nurse about how tough a season it has been.
It's been really, really difficult. There's been some times where we haven't handled that very well, but that's the message. Got to play better. Got to continue to hope that.
Hope is certainly a strategy for a team 18 games under 500 that'll be back in action on Saturday against the Warriors. Flyers lost 5-4 in overtime to the Penguins in Pittsburgh last night. They blew a 3-0 lead in that game. And the Phillies in spring training got strong outings from Zach Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, and Jordan Romano yesterday. Back in action today against the Red Sox with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
97.5. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, so far on this highest drafted players, we got Irving Fryer, number one. Only local guy has been drafted number one. Abdul Carter has a chance to be the second one coming up. Saquon was taken number two. Mike Rozier was taken number two. If you go to basketball, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was taken number two. Matt Ryan in football was taken number three. Ben Davis in baseball has the, looks like he and Reggie Jackson have the highest draft position at 2.
Yeah, and I had somebody on Instagram reach out to me to say Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
But
Kyrie's from
that doesn't
Montclair,
count.
New Jersey. That's
We don't count that.
That's North Jersey. That's
What
not
about
local.
Karl Anthony Towns?
Karl Anthony Towns is also kind of North Jersey, isn't he?
Born in Edison.
Edison, New Jersey.
Yeah, and he played at St. Joe's Metuchen. I don't consider that.
Just going with what the text board asked me.
That's more Northern Jersey. That's more New Yorkish than he was a Philly fan. I get it, but he really wasn't a Philadelphia product.
We used to play them a lot in ice hockey. All of our high school ice hockey games were up north. We used to play St. Joe's Metuchen, St. Joe's Montvale.
Did the preppy fans come up there and heckle the other team's
CBA? I don't know. Maybe some heckling.
Little blue blazer. You have to wear blue blazer. Is that what you had to wear?
It was when I went. It was a gray blazer, but
you have a crest.
If you had gotten a varsity letter in a sport, you could wear the varsity sweater instead. So being an ice hockey player and varsitying as a freshman, you got to rock the varsity letter sweater at a very young age.
Did you have a varsity letter sweater,
right?
Did you have a varsity letter sweater and a crest?
A lot more comfortable than the blazer.
Yeah.
The corny gray blazer we had to wear.
Go back to the bro question, please. Ask him if he's a bro again.
You're a bro?
The varsity letter sweater.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You know what? I got to wear that in one day because I still have it.
Yeah, please do. Wear it. All right, so
we weren't blue though. We were black and white.
The Hoosiers. We're talking about the Hoosiers because Gene Hackman. The situation is very strange, and we have some sound bites from it. Tyrone hates Hoosiers.
Oh, he does? I didn't know that.
He hates Hoosiers because he can't comprehend that team would have beaten South Bend Central.
Anything can happen
which had better players.
Yeah,
he said those five white dudes were going to beat that team. And he thinks it's fiction. But however, in that game, it was the white kid for South Bend Central who made the biggest mistake. Do you remember what it was?
I don't.
He took a jump shot when all he had to do was hold on to the rock because they were down. And so this kid throws a jump shot, he misses it, and that's how this Hoosiers team. What were they called? What was their team?
I can't even remember.
They weren't Hoosiers. They were the high school's name. I forget what the high school's name was. But anyway, they get the last possession, and that's when he designs the play. So Ray, can we hear the last play? As we go into the 1 o'clock hour, there's Gene Hackman. He's designing a play, and he's trying to outsmart himself, the idiot, after Jimmy Chitwood has made like 10 shots in a row.
All right, listen up. Here's what we're going to do. Jimmy, they're going to be expecting you to take the last shot. We're going to use you as a decoy. Buddy, you get the ball, give the Merle on the picket fence. He's going to take the last shot. All right, let's go. What's the matter with you guys? What's the matter with you?
I'll make it. Jimmy Chitwood. Come on, baby.
The picket fence.
Plus, he made some great. Ray says, I can't believe he got an open shot.
It's ridiculous. He's not blowing by you. You've played against this guy all game. He's knocking down every jumper. You give him that space that late in the game. Blitz him.
Yeah.
You know you've got help. He's the best shooter.
Blitz him. Blitz him.
Get him. Go get in his space. What are you doing giving him the space at that time?
He gave a little shimmy dribble.
Oh, stop
it. He gave a little shimmy dribble to get loose.
Maybe he was going to beat him to the basket. They had to play.
He was, and you have help behind you. You have help, and the clock is your friend in that scenario. What are you doing?
He shimmy dribbled off the guy guarding him.
What are you doing?
You're saying you should have doubled him.
You can see the 2 steps he's giving him. He's giving him too much space. Get up in there.
It's the Mike Missanelli Show. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPN HD1 in Burlington, Philadelphia. And it's a Beasley Media Group station. And we broadcast from the Comcast Business Studios. powering possibilities. All right, it's the 1 o'clock hour.
And they were called the Huskers.
Hickory. It was Hickory High School.
Yeah, Hickory High School. The Hickory Huskers.
Yes. All right. So let's get into this free agent story because this story lists the top 5 teams that could be hardest hit this offseason with free agency. Well, let's start with 5. The Minnesota, because I really want to put this up against the Eagles here because I don't believe the Eagles are going to be hurt as much as other teams. So the Vikings unrestricted free agents, obviously their quarterback. What would you do with the quarterback situation, Bill?
I think they'll probably, assuming J.J. McCarthy's ready, I think you let Darnold go. I think Darnold showed who he truly is in the playoffs.
Okay. Offensive tackle Cam Robinson. 2 cornerbacks, Murphy and Gilmore. Starting running back Aaron Jones. Offensive guard Dalton Reisner. The tight end Johnny Munt. And from there, it's Cam Akers. So the top, Sam Darnold, Cam Robinson, Byron Murphy, Stephen Gilmore, Aaron Jones. Significant, right?
It is, but the reason that I think they're number 5 and they got the Eagles number 1, the Vikings right now have $63 million in cap space. The Eagles have $22 million. So the Vikings are going to be able to, whoever they want to keep, they should be able to, and they should be able to go out and sign some big names in free agency. The Eagles, being at $22 million, aren't going to have that same flexibility that the Vikings do. But I wouldn't pay Sam Darnold if I'm them. I'd move on.
All right, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they have a ton. They've got, all right, DeAndre Hopkins, no big deal. Justin Reed, Marquise Brown, Carson Wentz, Josh. This is a bunch of crap they have as free agents.
Yeah, Nick Bolton,
really, none
Bolton
of them,
the linebacker.
Nick Bolton is like really only one of significance. The Kareem Hunt, Juju Smith-Schuster, all these used up bodies. Justin Watson, the punter.
Yeah, the leg.
Yeah. All right, Dallas Cowboys, 3.
The Cowboys.
Brandon Cooks, Zach Martin, Marcus Lawrence, Trey Lance, the backup quarterback, linebacker Eric Kendricks, Jordan Lewis, cornerback, and Cooper Rush. Yeah.
I think, was it Zach Martin just announced his retirement?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's kind of hard to say that the Cowboys.
Wait. Well, I'm sorry. More. Linville Joseph, Rico Dowdle, Brian Anger, the punter.
Yeah.
None
of these are great
names. The cornerback at Penn State.
None of these are great names, but it's kind of hard to say that. Like, I wouldn't even have put the Cowboys at number 3 on the list simply because they were terrible this year. So them losing a lot of these guys in free agency. See, I think the reason that they're thinking they're going to get hit so hard is if you look at cap space. I just said the Eagles have $22 million. Cowboys have under 4. So not only do they have all these free agents, they got to figure out what the hell they're going to do to bring in players. And I believe the quote from the Cowboys was they're going to be selectively aggressive is what I think they said they were going to be.
They went from all in to selectively aggressive.
Yeah, so they're just a mess.
And the other, they put the Bengals in there. T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, Travion Williams, a couple decent offensive players there. But
and the Bengals have a ton of cap space, $61 million.
And the Eagles, they say, is number 1. Sweat, Vaughn, Mekhi Becton. You're talking about 3 significant starters there. Milton Williams, a 4th significant starter. Kenneth Gainwell, who plays an important position. Brandon Graham. And Avonte Maddox. Brandon Graham is no big deal.
Yeah,
Avonte Maddox is no big deal either.
But I think the reason that they have them number 1 as well is there was an article last week where CBS Sports ranked the top 25 defensive free agents, and it was 1, 2, 3, Sweat, Vaughn, Milton Williams. So when you look at the caliber of free agent that the Eagles could lose, those 3, along with Mekhi Becton, are 4 of probably the top 30 free agents available, maybe even top 15 free agents available. So that's why when you look at the caliber of player. But if they sign Zach Vaughn, which you and I both think they should and will, as much as I would love to say Milton Williams should come back, I don't know if they'll pay him. He'd be my 1A. Like Vaughn number 1, Milton Williams 1A.
Yeah.
They should be able to fill it.
Williams.
I am. I think he's an important position too, with the way they like to build their defenses from the inside out. I think Milton Williams is too important, but if he goes and gets a Javon Hargrave type of deal, it may be hard to match.
I was musing about the Eagles when I was driving around yesterday. And I was thinking, okay, if this was the best Eagle team ever, how many from this team would make the all-time Eagles team? So let's start with the defense, because I want to ask you a question. Reggie White locks up one end. Would you put Brandon Graham at the other end?
It's a good question, man. Who else could have taken? I mean, look,
Clyde Simmons.
Well, Trent Cole is second all-time in sacks to Reggie, right? So it would be either Clyde Simmons, Trent Cole, or Brandon Graham. I'd probably go with BG, but maybe that's just because of he's done it so long here.
Oh, that would be fair.
Yeah, I think I would.
Now, let me go into your tackles. Because would you right now go Jalen Carter with the other tackle being Fletcher Cox? Or would you go Jerome Brown? Carter and Brown have played about the same amount of time here as an Eagle.
Yeah, it's hard because you have to project what Jerome Brown would have been. I mean, he was great.
No,
but what he could have been.
Right now, with the body of work, Jerome Brown or Jalen Carter?
This is probably going to be recency bias for a lot of people. I think I'd go Jalen Carter, man. I don't know. Jerome Brown was so good. I don't know. Maybe you got to still go with Jerome. Maybe so. Now that I'm talking it through, until Carter does it again.
Is Carter more dominant than Jerome Brown?
He probably is. I mean, you look at the amount of snaps he plays, the amount of attention he gets. That's probably a straight toss-up when you look at the two. But Carter will pass him simply because of the tragedy.
All right, I want to continue this conversation because this is very interesting on how many of these guys on this team would project to an all-time team. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Andrew Salciunas.
If Zach Ball Missanelli Show. We have no phones for the second straight day, which is problematic for a sports talk station. But we push on with, we've talked about everything. Anything that has entered our head today, we've talked about. So now I'm going to enter another thing. You know, we might not have phones here, Bill and Ray. But we got some sweet-smelling grids in those urinals in the bathroom.
Yeah, they're good.
Have you gotten any, wind of these things?
I have not.
You have not? You have not smelled those things that coming out of the urinal?
No. I didn't realize that they were that good.
Oh, my God. They're fragrant. Ray, have you noticed it?
I try not to take deep breaths.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think I've noticed it.
Ray, they like hit you in the face. It's fragrant. It's like...
I don't know what's hitting you in the face.
It must be the new style of grids. Normally they had that mint thing in there.
So they upgraded.
They really
I'll take
did.
it. Hold on. Speaking of upgrade, we'll get back to the Eagles in a second. Talk about upgrading the fifth starter for the Phils.
Yeah?
I'm seeing Luzardo touching 98 today.
Okay. Good pitcher.
It's a good sign, man, that maybe he's healthy. 98?
I will say, you characterizing him as a fifth starter is going to get incredibly disrespectful to him the more you watch him.
Well, where's he going to fit into this rotation?
He's not going to be fifth.
Where are you going to put him?
I think there's a chance they split him as the 2. I would have Sanchez as the 2.
Yeah, I've seen that being thrown around where you would go, you'd break up the righties, right? So
he wants to break up the righties. So Wheeler,
then you would go Sanchez as your 2, then Nola.
Well, why is it important to break up the right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Who cares when you break up the right? It's not a batting order.
No, but there's a lot of reports that Thompson may want to do that.
Why?
I don't know.
No, seriously, think about this. Because it's something that sounds better than it really is. Like, who cares if it's a righty-lefty, righty-lefty? Like,
I guess from a lineup construction day-to-day standpoint, if you have a right-hand starter on the mound, more than likely you're going to get a left-handed centric batting order on the other side. You're probably going to have to empty lefties out of the pen that day. And if you don't go with the righty the next day, you probably are using different relievers following him because you're facing a different lineup.
well, but if you're the opponent, you just alter your lineup according to who they're pitching.
Right, that's what I mean. The lineup you're facing in that game is going to lend to you using left-handed relievers following the right-handed arm starting the game because that lineup's probably going to be more left-handed oriented due to the fact you faced a right-handed starter.
Yeah, so he's saying on the second day, if you go Wheeler then Nola, you may not have enough relievers available for that second game.
Is that overthinking?
How many relievers are you going to have with Wheeler and Nola?
Well, that's what Ray's about to go. Are they overthinking?
Is that overthinking it?
Of course
for
it's
sure.
overthinking it. Yeah, it doesn't make
But I'm trying to explain the logic I think he would try and regurgitate back to you.
Oh, Bill, you're trying to explain the logic to Bill?
No, I'm trying to be Robbie T here with why he would go.
Oh, Robbie Thompson.
Yeah, what your buddy would say.
Okay. Oh, my buddy Robbie T.
Your boy. But
it's amazing how you can hate Rob Thompson.
I don't hate him. It's just you put him. He walks on water for you.
He doesn't walk on water.
He don't make any wrong decisions. Robbie Thompson.
I don't know. I think. See, I look at baseball managers a lot. Well, baseball people look at managers and go, "What are they really doing?" You know, the strategy of a baseball manager is pretty much set in stone. Like, there's not much things you can vary off of that as a baseball manager. So you push the right buttons, you make people feel comfortable in the clubhouse, you change a lineup and that you think is more efficient. You go righty-lefty, so you mess up the other team's bullpen allotment. You know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really kind of simple.
Yeah, but
so
you can make.
I don't think that he makes enough decisions to pan them. Like, I just don't. I don't think baseball managers make enough bad decisions. Gabe Kapler made some bad decisions.
Well, Kapler was weird.
But Thompson is a long time baseball guy who managed under Joe Torre and has been around baseball his life. I mean, there's not many things he can make a mistake on.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying with baseball, but we've seen Rob Thompson make some mistakes, especially in big moments like the postseason last year. I think you could talk about some of the things he did, but
yeah, he did make some mistakes.
But I don't want to be negative about the Phils today. We're looking forward. But hold on, Ray said something interesting. He would not have Luzardo as the fifth starter.
Okay, let's give me your rotation, Ray.
The rotation I would go.
Yeah,
Wheeler, Sanchez, Nola,
Luzardo.
Suarez.
So you're putting Suarez as your 5.
Yeah. And I love Ranger.
It's interesting.
All right. Well, then you got lefty though.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to end up with it anyways.
Bottom.
You're going to end up with it anyways. It's unless you go
can't,
5
can't
or
avoid
6
it. There's
man.
not many teams that will have 3 lefties at their starting 5.
No.
I don't know if that's an advantage or not.
Well, that's
you got more right-handed hitters in the big leagues.
How many times would you go into a series if you went Wheeler Nola where you actually face a lineup 3 straight days with 3 straight left-handed pitchers? Like, I can't tell you. I can't run that math in my head.
Yeah.
With the number of times it happened, but it's an interesting phenomenon that I don't think happens a ton.
But we'll get back to Eagles. But like I was frustrated that Dombrowski didn't do a lot like with the lineup. But man, you look at these pitchers. If Luzardo's the real deal, and then Romano looked good yesterday too.
Well, he was a good pitcher before he got hurt.
Yeah, so if he's healthy, I mean, I know health is always the big question, but if these pitchers stay healthy,
who's the setup guy?
Is it Alvarado probably?
Pastrami?
Yeah, you still got Strom.
It was not of the guys that went yesterday. He was the one that did not have.
Who's the right-handed guy that sets up?
Kerkering.
Yeah, he's probably going to be Orion.
All right. Oh,
I mean, it's not
he does him a first name basis.
Yeah, me and Orion.
Be Orion.
I just like his first name. I think it's a good first name.
You missed it actually later on in the conversation with Nick Nurse. He asked him about Orion Kerkering too.
Look at Ray taking a shot. I love it.
Did he? Did he open with that to soften it up?
Well, you remember when Nick
he
Nurse
closed with it.
Remember when Nick Nurse?
Oh, you closed with it.
Remember when Nick Nurse came out and did the Kimbrel when he threw out the first pitch?
Oh yeah, I do remember it. Man, what much simpler times that was.
That's when everybody loved him.
Got Nick Nurse. Things are going to turn for this.
Yeah,
group.
everybody loved Nick Nurse. Everybody loved Nick Sirianni back then. Now they love him again.
Can we hear that Cooper Eugene open again from Bill?
No, we got to hit it.
Have that?
We'll come back.
Oh, we're going to come back on the other side? I don't want to hear that again. I want to hear how he softened the blow.
Yeah, you're damn right.
All right,
and then we got a good answer from him later on.
610-632-0975 back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles have a quarterback coach. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles filled the vacancy on their coaching staff left by Doug Nussmeier's departure to become the Saints offensive coordinator. The Eagles' new quarterbacks coach will be Bowling Green head coach Scott Loeffler, who spent the last 15 years in college football, including a stop at Temple in 2011 as the offensive coordinator. Speaking of college football, the NFL Combine underway in Indianapolis going until Monday. Elsewhere, the 76ers hosted their youth gala last night, and Andrew Salciunas and Bill Colorado broadcasted live from it. Spoke with Nick Nurse about just how tough a season it has been.
It's been really, really difficult. There's been some times where we haven't handled that very well, but that's the message. Got to play better. Got to continue to hope that.
Got to play better, for sure, and that starts Saturday, maybe, against the Warriors as they host Golden State at home. Flyers lost 5-4 to the Penguins in overtime in Pittsburgh last night. Blew a 3-0 lead in that game. Phillies got strong outings from Zach Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, and Jordan Romano yesterday. To pack in action today against the Red Sox, Jesus Luzardo on the mound. This update is also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
124, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, back to this Eagle topic we were talking about, whether how many guys from this team would make the all-time Eagles defensive team. This is their best defense ever, right? So it's really interesting. So on the defensive line, we decided we were going to go with Reggie and BG. And in the middle, we're going to go with Fletcher Cox and either Jerome or Jalen Carter. So you decide, Bill. You decide.
I don't know how you'd make that pick, man. I'll go with. Every time I'm about to say one, I'll go with Jalen Carter.
All right, you're going to go Jalen Carter. All right, let's go to the linebackers. All right, now the all-time linebacker that they have, it would be Bill Berge, right?
Bill Berge, yes.
So Bill Berge gets one of the slots. Now you're going to go with three linebackers. We'll go with three linebackers, and then we won't put a nickel in.
What about Concrete Charlie?
I forgot about him. That's so long ago, man.
That's the problem. Like,
I don't know.
You know, how does Concrete Charlie translate to today's game?
You got other choices, too. You got Trotter, you got B&E, you got Seth. You got to choose two of those three. All right, put Concrete Charlie in there. So you got three linebackers. You go Berge, you're going to go Chuck, you're going to go one of Seth, B&E, or Trotter.
I'll go with Seth.
You could take Seth.
Yeah, we'll go with our
over
man.
B&E and over Trot. Yeah, well, he's got more versatility on the outside. So you got two inside linebackers.
Yeah, so Seth's going to be a playmaker.
All right, let's go to the back end now. This is really interesting because Eric Allen gets one of the spots, obviously. Dawkins gets one of the safety spots. Now, the other cornerback, would you actually go Slay? Or would you go Lito? Or would you go Troy? Or would you go Bobby Taylor?
Oh, man. Man, they've had some good corners over the years, haven't they? Yeah, Eric Allen definitely is the one you said. Who would you go on the other side?
Would you put Slay in there?
No, I wouldn't put Slay over Bobby Taylor.
Or Lito. You put Lito over Bobby Taylor? Because I would.
Yeah, it would probably. Yeah, maybe I would go with Lito. I'll tell you what.
Put Troy over Lito.
Man, Troy was pretty good too. I'll tell you, there's a strong chance in 5 years we'll be talking about how Quignon's on there. Yeah. He's just not there after his rookie season.
I get you.
So go with Troy.
You're going to go Troy and Eric Allen.
And then at safety, I know that they both technically played the same safety position, but I'm going Malcolm Jenkins and Brian Dawkins. Could you imagine them back there?
Malcolm Jenkins over Wes Hopkins and Andre Waters.
I think Malcolm Jenkins, I say it all the time. I told him this when we met him at Radio Row. The most underrated Philadelphia Eagle of all time.
Did you soften the interview by asking about Cooper DeJean?
No, I didn't have to.
With it? Okay.
I didn't have to do that. But he is the most underrated Eagle of all time. Malcolm Jenkins may be, and I know everyone loves Dawkins, Jenkins may have been a better safety than Brian Dawkins was.
All right.
Like, he was that damn
good.
You
got Dawk and Jenkins, Eric Allen, Troy, Reggie, BG, Cox, Jalen Carter, Berge, Bednarik, Seth for your squad.
It's a pretty good defense. It's a pretty good defense, right?
All right, let's move over now to the offensive line, because the offensive linemen, you may take both tackles.
I don't think you are. As much as I love Mailata.
Are you taking Jason Peters?
Yeah, I think you got to.
All right, Jason Peters, who just retired. Jason Peters, and would you go with? Obviously, you're gonna go the other side, right? You're gonna go Lane.
Yeah, Lane Johnson is your right tackle.
Peters and Lane. You're gonna go Kelsey as your center. Who are your guards?
That's tough, man.
Now, Vermeil had some good guards.
Yeah.
Jerry Sizemore he had.
I mean, I think Landon Dickerson is unbelievable.
You're going to go Landon Dickerson?
I think I still would.
Okay.
I don't know who I would put at my right guard. Huh. Who's been some of the best guards
I think
had?
you got to go Jerry Sizemore. He was an all-timer for me.
Yeah, all right. So that's a pretty
Super Bowl team.
That's a pretty incredible offensive line.
All right, let's go tight end. Are you going Zach Ertz as your tight end?
Zach Ertz. Who are the other options? You got Keith Jackson, right?
You got Chad Lewis.
I don't know. It'd either be Keith Jackson or Ertz. Yeah, one of those guys. You need two tight ends, don't you?
No, you don't need two tight ends. We got 12 personnel here.
Oh, man. I think you got to go Ertz.
All right,
Keith Jackson's was the
you
stuff,
go
too.
Ertz. All right, now here we go with wide receiver and running back is left.
It's got to be Saquon, right, at running back?
You going Saquon over Shady?
I think you have to.
Okay.
Greatest season we've ever seen.
All time. I would agree with that. Now your wide receivers.
A.J. Brown, Terrell Owens.
A.J. Brown and Terrell Owens.
I know I'm passing up Carmichael and Irving Fryer
And
was
Mike
here a couple
Quick.
of years. Mike Quick. A.J. Brown and Terrell Owens are the two best receivers to ever put on an Eagles uniform.
I like it. All right, now we go to quarterback. Are you going Hurts right now over Donovan McNabb?
Without a doubt, man.
Without a doubt. Hurts is your quarterback.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
He does keep the main thing the main thing. That's for sure. All right, so here it is. Your all-time Eagles team, and this will generate some conversation, but I don't know if you can argue with it. On offense, Peters, Dickerson, Kelsey, Sizemore, Lane Johnson. Your tight end is Zach Ertz. Your wide receivers are A.J. Brown and T.O. Your running back is Saquon. Your quarterback is Hurts. So, of this team, you had Lane, you had Dickerson, you had A.J., you had Saquon, and you had Hurts. So 5 of the 11 come from this team.
There's one more question that's being asked on the YouTube chat. Who's coaching the team? Now, I am the biggest. I am the biggest Sirianni guy going. Everyone knows that. But I think I would probably have Andy Reid coach the team.
Okay, don't worry about it. Enjoy the win.
Yeah, I think you.
I think you got to go Andy Reid. Now, I think.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
I think Sirianni goes down right now as the best coach in Eagles history because he's done something no other coach has ever done.
Well, then how could you have him?
But
he's the best coach in Eagle history. Wait, it doesn't make sense.
Well, here's why. I also think you look at Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens only had one good season here. But if we're building the best possible team, T.O. is the best wide receiver.
Well, okay, and that's
right?
that would make it more like you have Sirianni as your best coach.
No, because if you would say
it's the same rationale.
It's not the same rationale. Because if you would say who's the best wide receiver in Philadelphia Eagles franchise history, I don't think people would say T.O. They would make arguments for Mike Quick, A.J. Brown, Harold Carmichael because they were here longer.
We're talking about what you picked. You picked T.O. By the same rationale, you should pick Sirianni.
Well, here's why I'm saying there's a difference. Building the perfect team is different than ranking the best in franchise history.
Ray, hold a second. I'm confused. He put T.O., even though T.O. had a short body of work, he said he's the best coach. He just said that Nick Sirianni was the best Eagles coach in history, and yet he chose Andy Reid.
Yeah, it's an incredibly interesting line of logic you guys have gone to in building this team because if you're going with the short-term success versus the long-term, tight end, I feel like Jackson's got to be above Ertz on that one. If we're going short-term guys. That was if you go A.J. and T.O., you're going shorter term.
I think Jackson was a better player than Ertz?
He's a 3-time All-Pro.
What was Ertz?
A 3-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, maybe we're not giving Keith Jackson enough credit. He was a tremendous rookie, too.
And I mean, I think he was and this is more the history of the game being taught to me than living it, so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh,
I mean, with the tight end position, I think he was a part of what started to change at that tight end position.
I get it. I don't know. Did Ertz have more catches and yards than
Well, yeah, it was a
Jackson?
shorter career here in Philadelphia for Jackson as compared to Ertz.
But you think Jackson was better? All right. Well,
I just mean the short-term splash.
I could go either way on that,
but it goes to your point about the coach. Like if we're talking short-term splash, you say that he's done something already that no one's ever done. Like if you've got Sirianni on the Hall of Fame track, say it with the chest.
No, what I'm saying is when you look at franchise history, Nick Sirianni should be the best coach in franchise history because he's had the most success in terms of postseason success, Super Bowl appearances, and he has the Super Bowl victory. But I am not going to say that Nick Sirianni is a better coach than Andy Reid when Andy Reid is already a Hall of Famer. He's already guaranteed to go in the Hall of Fame.
He's coaching the Eagles.
I understand that. But, okay, are we just taking Andy Reid of his time here in Philadelphia? Then, yes, I would give it to Sirianni. But if we're looking at Andy Reid in his entirety of his career.
Well, no, you got to look at him as the coach here. His Eagle career. We're looking at all these other guys as players for the Eagles.
But yeah, I guess my struggle with this is you take Saquon after one season. You take T.O. after a short time here. You're taking A.J. Brown after a short time
so
here.
why aren't you taking Sirianni?
You are the Sirianni's man.
You are.
This is your domain.
Well, it's because, all right, maybe my criteria is different. When I looked at T.O., I'm not just looking at T.O.'s one season here. I'm looking at T.O. as a wide receiver.
Well, and you're splitting the difference.
So if
on
we're
all these players, then you're not being consistent.
So then if we're only talking about best in franchise history, I think that's different than building the team. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If we're saying best in franchise history,
with this.
If we're saying
the
best,
T.O. logic should match up with your Sirianni logic. You're thinking he's the best player. You're saying Sirianni.
Yeah, my T.O. logic does add up. I'm saying Andy Reid is a better coach than Nick Sirianni. Terrell Owens,
as an Eagle.
Okay, as an Eagle, then no. Then Sirianni, but then you got to eliminate T.O. because T.O.'s not.
All right, well, then if you eliminated T.O., that would be more logical.
All right, then eliminate T.O.,
okay.
and we probably would have to eliminate Saquon. He only did it one season.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You're going, well, that's what I'm saying. So you would go Shady, right, for right now.
Yeah.
And reserve the right if Saquon plays a couple more years so you could easily replace Shady.
I don't know. Actually, as I'm saying it, Saquon's one season was so magical.
Yeah, I get it, but then you would have to go Harold Carmichael over Owens.
Yes, if we're looking at the best in Eagles franchise history.
So that still brings me to Sirianni. As an Eagle head coach, do you have Sirianni over Andy Reid?
As an Eagles head coach, yes.
All right, well then Sirianni is the all-time coach for this team.
And
we settled it.
I don't think you can make an argument otherwise. And I'm looking at what Ray was saying about the whole Keith Jackson verse.
Yeah, Ertz.
Zach Ertz. So Zach Ertz is number 2 in franchise history in receptions. He's got 579 catches. He did that in 123 games. Keith Jackson is not even in the top 20. Why is that, Ray? You said he didn't play here long enough?
I don't think he was here. What was it, 4 or 5
years?
years?
Long enough to be measured against Ertz. That's why I think Ertz should get the nod.
It was 4 years. He was here 4 years. I mean, it's a different era of football. I mean, if you want to give it to Ertz, I'm not going to sit here and
I think Ertz
split
has
hairs
to get
over
it.
Zach Ertz.
As an Eagle, I think Ertz has to get it.
I just mean a different era of football, and also Carson was force-feeding everything he could to Zach Ertz.
Well, yeah, that shouldn't matter. He did make the catches, and they did execute the plays.
I'm still shocked that Jackson's not in the top 20 of receptions in franchise.
I think we look at him as he was the prototypical physical speed type of guy that the league hasn't seen very much of. And so I think we have a tendency to overvalue his production here. 610-632-0975. We'll get back to the text board. A lot of people are saying about the hundreds of things that we've talked about today. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Tyrone Johnson.
Whoa, 141, Mike Missanelli Show. By the way, I forgot to tell you that the 12 o'clock hour was featured with the great battle between the media people at Starbucks. Was brought to you by Service First HVAC. They're offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com.
On that note,
yes,
with the insiders, it's Matt Stafford's going to stay in L.A., and I can't tell which. That just came out, by the way. That was just
wait, when did that break?
In the last 10, 15 minutes. I couldn't tell which insider got it first. Because Schultz reported it, Schefter reported it, Rappaport all reported it. I believe all of them exactly at 123.
Oh, really?
Because Schultz is taking quite the hit. He didn't take any real hits. I want to be very clear about that. There were no punches thrown inside of that Starbucks. Don't get the story twisted. But he's taking quite the hit because it does seem like a lot of people are going to the Rappaport side of things in this back and forth. But if he beat both Schefter and Rappaport, it's got to be a big point for Schultz in this whole back and forth between the insiders.
I agree.
Well, and now Diana Rossini just puts out that the New York Giants are now shifting their interest to Aaron Rodgers because they were rumored to be in the Matt Stafford mix. Oh, I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers. Joe Shane, let's make this our weekly Joe Shane. Please sign Aaron Rodgers. You know what? And make him dictate who else you get. Get Devontae Adams in there. Make it Aaron Rodgers' team, Joe Shane. That'd be great for job security.
Did he do something to you?
Yeah.
Did you cross paths with him?
Yeah, he's got one of the 32 most coveted jobs in the world, and he's terrible at it. And he somehow keeps his job.
You think you can do a better job, basically?
I know I could do a better job than Joe Shane. I think a lot of people could do a better job than Joe Shane.
And the Joe Shane effect is in full effect because it appears that Hard Knocks has not gotten anyone to do the off-season version of it, so they're dropping into the college ranks. And I saw a report that they're going to do it with Billy B down there in UNC.
Oh, man, that was such a good show, the off-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I'm sure you loved it.
It was great. You got unbelievable access to what was going on behind the scenes. You're right, though. We all said it then. Why would the Giants allow these cameras in there? So I guess...
By the way, Shaq said something about Jordan Schultz. Maybe back to that subject. He said, Jordan Schultz known for a long time, and he could have got Rich Schultz's daddy money with Starbucks, and he decided to be a journalist. If your daddy was Howard Schultz, the honcho of Starbucks, would you be schlepping in this business as an NFL writer? Or would you run the empire?
Well, the thing is I know he's giving him credit for he could have taken it over and now he's doing this. Do we think he said, I'm not doing it and you're not going to give me any money? I'm sure the father still gave him millions. So I get I give him credit for working hard doing this, but it's not like he probably doesn't have a wonderful nest egg that he's sitting on.
It's not the nest egg though. It's you're taking over the empire. You're getting bread. It's like Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Callahan.
Yeah, he's going to give you the keys to the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
guess you can always get the keys to the whole thing when you're done with this. Well, I think I would have taken if I'm being bred to take over that whole operation, I'm doing that.
It's like Succession.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's
unless he is Tommy Boy.
There's people who want to do their own thing, and I can understand that too.
I would be podcast network with Starbucks sponsored. I'd be Starbucks with the stars, and I'm just interviewing famous people. And you know what? I'm using that money.
I'd be the king. Yeah, I wouldn't be schlepping around as an insider trying to get little tidbits. Yeah, and getting JO'd here and there
by Rappaport.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not disputing whether or not Matthew Stafford's trip to Montana was to see Tom Brady or they accidentally ran into each other on a ski lift. I'm not going back and forth.
Yeah, so you think that was targeted? He targeted that information.
I don't know what that information was. The fact they got into a whole, we need to talk. No, we don't.
That used to be, it used to be really cutthroat like that in this town, covering sports. Like the newspaper journalists. And that's all there were newspaper journalists. But if you were a beat writer for Daily News and Inquirer, you did not speak to each other. You were not friendly.
Really?
Oh, there was no friends back then in that day. You were getting the scoop and you were trying to beat that guy. That's the way journalism used to be in this town.
See, but That's
and now
crazy.
everybody's friendly.
Yeah, but you could be competitive. Look,
like the Eagles. How many people cover the Eagles? They're all friendly with each other.
Oh, there's like 100 of them.
And they're all friendly because they don't dig for the scoops anymore. They get everything handed to them. They get the access through a podium, and they don't even break stories anymore. The national guys break stories, so they don't even have that burden. Back in the day, it was cutthroat. You had to have that story. You're going against the beat writer from an opposing faction.
I can understand the cutthroat
Especially
part of it.
baseball. Baseball was way cutthroat, covering the Phillies.
I can understand the cutthroat, but it doesn't mean you can't be cordial. Dude,
I'm telling you, it was. I was never a pro beat writer to that extent. But when those guys covered the Phillies, and there were all these suburban papers that were trying to grab headlines as well, a guy got hit in the head with a can of beer once over giving information to a guy from the Inquirer.
Wow, is that crazy? Huh?
He was late to Jim Fragosi's press conference after the his meeting in his office. He was talking to a player, and he got in there, and it was over by then. So he asked the guy. He goes, "Hey, listen, can I borrow some of your notes of what Fragosi said?" And the guy gave it to him. And the other beat writers found out about it. As soon as the guy came up to write a story, they threw a beer can at him and hit him in the head.
That's crazy.
The guy
right?
that gave him the information is the guy that got hit in the head.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, it was nuts back then. Now it's soft. Everybody loves each other.
Well, look, man. I mean, I was a trial lawyer 15 years. When the court case would start, yeah, it's a competition. As soon as it ends, I'm friends with my
I don't know
opposing
how
counsel.
you guys could have done that. Like, I would. That's probably why. Like, I would not have been good on an everyday basis as a lawyer because I would have looked at that guy as the enemy,
which
the lawyer that opposed,
which
him.
I always did.
And there's a lot of bad lawyers.
There are
a lot of arrogant lawyers.
But what I always did. But you're also being an athlete where I could, as soon as the whistle goes, try to kill the guy across from me. But when the whistle stops and the game's over, you shake the person's hand. Like, that's how I always approach the court cases as well. It's like, yeah, you're my competition, but I'm not. Because here's the other thing. You're going up against insurance companies, and what I did, you get the same lawyers over and over and over. So you don't want to burn too many bridges. You're going to be nice.
Because you want to settle with them. Right? You want to say you would be cordial and settle with them. Oh, friendly. I don't like when lawyers are friendly. I don't like when players are friendly.
So what I found was, in my world, most of the lawyers are friendly. When it came to family law and divorces, the lawyers were at odds because the parties are at such odds.
Yeah.
They want the lawyers to be at odds. Like, if I represented you, you got in a car accident with someone, they didn't intentionally hurt you. So even though we're technically at odds, you don't hate the person on the other side.
See, if I'm the client, I want you to hate him.
Yeah, you would be the worst client ever.
Really, if I was a client, I'd want you to hate that competition and beat his ass.
Yeah,
and if you were friendly with him, that would, I think, compromise my case.
I would get more out of the lawyers that I was friendly with than the ones that I was not.
What are you trying to get out of him? You're trying to get settlements out of him. If you're trying to beat him in court, why you got to be friendly with him?
99.9% of cases settle before court.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm talking about cases that don't settle.
Most clients don't want the case to go to court because you're talking 5 years of being dragged through litigation.
I want the case to go to court, brother.
Yeah, you'd be the worst. I would hate you as a client.
As you can tell now.
I can just imagine.
As you can tell what I'm right now.
Yeah. Well, that one's personal, but that now has become a personal thing.
Now, for me, it's not personal. Well, you know what's personal? Getting the money I deserve.
Well, that's what I mean. It's now become what I'm saying is when you're dealing with like a car accident or a slip and fall, it's not as if that person intentionally harmed you. What you're dealing with, you feel you were intentionally harmed.
Were you able to read the transcript?
I did read some of it.
Yeah, were you amused?
I was. I did read some of it.
Did you read the transcript?
I got through some of it. After a while, it's like this is just going in circles, and I'm not engaging any further with this.
It's fairly amusing if you read the transcript.
It is funny.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. A couple things real quick. What we're talking about. Luzardo retired all 6 batters he faced.
Oh, nice.
Struck out a couple with changeups. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Now, one thing I mentioned to you off air, Mike, we didn't talk about on air, was Ray gave us his rotation, right?
Yeah.
The 5 starters.
Yep.
I keep hearing that Andrew Painter is going to be coming up in the summertime. Yeah. So what are they doing? Where are they putting Andrew Painter?
I don't know. I heard Ricky say that you move Ranger Suarez now to a setup role. Maybe you have to do that. I mean,
Wait, Suarez or Sanchez?
Ranger Suarez. I'm sorry.
Suarez. I thought you said Suarez.
Yeah, you said Suarez.
Yeah, I did say Suarez.
I thought you mentioned Sanchez earlier.
No. Sanchez, I think, is a more stable starting pitcher right now than Ranger is. And Ranger wilted last year, and you never know about his strength, and he hasn't been throwing as hard as he used to. So maybe he would be better served as more of an energetic setup man, where he didn't have to drain himself every fifth day.
Now, let me ask you, though.
Michael Mercado pitched today, by the way.
How'd he look?
How'd it go?
Mercado, he's still, the game's still going on. Luzardo started, pitched 2 innings.
Yeah, and retired all 6.
Mercado has walked. He walked 3 guys and struck out 2. So he walked the bases loaded, but got out of it, apparently.
Well, if you're able to put out the fire, you start, and everyone's safe.
Yeah.
There you go.
Garrett Crochet pitched for Boston. Inning and 2/3, gave up 1 hit, walked 3, but struck out 3.
Wow. Dombrowski does it again. He got the right lefty this one.
We're 0-0 with no hit. 1 hit, Harper with a hit.
Now, you mentioned maybe moving Suarez to be the setup guy if Painter's ready.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Suarez, knowing that you're about to enter free agency this summer, is that something that you would want?
What are you going to do? Say no?
Well, I guess if he proves himself as a starter before that happens, then maybe he's like, yeah, save my arm and I'll get my payday this offseason.
Yeah, it could be. You can look at it on the bright side.
Hey, it's a good problem to have.
The low side is you didn't pitch well enough to keep your spot in the rotation.
Yeah.
So there's that. I mean, they're not going to move Painter into if all those guys are successful and they're not moving him. He would be the guy in the bullpen.
Yeah, and I don't think that you would want to, even if Painter is ready to come up and you feel good, do you want to trade one of those guys for maybe a bat in the outfield?
You could do that. You could possibly do that if this Kepler doesn't work out. All right, so it's been a festive 2 days, and we appreciate your indulgence not being able to call in. Hopefully you joined in and on the YouTube viewing and the chat and all that stuff, and thank you for the text for us today. Ray, nice job. You didn't have to, double check any of these wackos who called. No calls today.
No.
So
it's been a whole different world.
The day before the phones went out, you had to drop 2 callers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, easy. So thanks for indulging us today. Hopefully by Monday, we'll be able to have a phone call. You think?
We'll see.
All right.
Everyone have a great weekend.
And we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.